Hello and welcome everybody to the QUESO Cup Fall Split EMEA playoffs, the finals for the Europe, Middle East, and Africa region. I'm Rich Slayton, really excited to have you guys here for what's going to be a phenomenal, amazing double elimination bracket with not just some of the best in Europe, but some of the best in the world. And man, we got some fireworks already, of course, in the European region. The big story today, of course, is going to be, do we see yet another rematch of Mohamed Light and Ruben? They split things up during the group stage in Europe, Ruben getting the better of Mo the last time they went around. But, of course, both of them have first-round buys because of the way the bracket is structured. Here we go, taking a look at that. They are both past the first round of the winner's bracket with 6 players qualifying and moving on to the second stage. And so they are awaiting the winners of those players in the first round. Hugo versus Miguelito, a.k.a. Bale, if you're familiar with him from CRL, and then xopxsam against Lopkins, a.k.a. LaPoKaTi, FLG. Shout out to the chat if you are old school here from my streams. Going to be a bunch of great matchups. I know Lapo looking to get back in form, felt like he had qualified kind of in a low spot than from what he anticipated. xopxsam, of course, barely missing Clash Royale League Worlds or the last chance qualifier this year. Maybe a bit of a chip on his shoulder. We'll see if he brings the heat today. It's going to be a great set of matchups. And of course, for a great set of matchups, you need some great commentary. So not only do you have me here to talk you through from the play-by-play side, but also invited on to the stream today. Currently, I think number 16 on the Clash Royale League World Rankings going towards our World Finals. Longtime Clash Royale pro, great player, and very, very happy to have him here. Mini Minter on the line. Mini, really excited to have you here today. Of course, I know that you've got a lot of work to do between now and December, but for the moment, we get to sit back and enjoy some great action here in the European region.
We do, Rich, and thank you for inviting me on and co-casting this today because we do have some great matches. We have some great rivalries, obviously, as you mentioned. Ruben and Mo, the two titans. Ruben dominant 2020, Mo dominant 2021. And once again, they're meeting in a very important competition in a very important stage. So we'll see if they do get to meet in that winner bracket finals, or if somebody pulls an upset and surprises us.
Yeah, I mean, and there's definitely some upset-minded competitors here as we go jump into our first matchup. And this first one is really, really interesting. You have Miguelito, a.k.a. Bale, who, of course, has been in competitive for a long time. You've faced off against Bale in a variety of competitions. Of course, I guess the best thing for him on his record is I believe it was 7 times in a row, the Orange Crown League MVP before signing on to be part of Clash Royale League. And then Hugo, who has kind of somewhat quietly been a key figure in France's performance on the international stage, especially with their second-place finishes at WRL and No Tilt Worlds earlier this year. So talk to me a little bit here, Mini Minter, about the matchup between these two guys.
So we see Bale coming out with bait for the first game, obviously trying to conserve the fireball for later on in the best of 3, and Hugo coming out with MK Flying Machine, and this could be E-Barbs or this could be Pigs, or it could be both. He is missing 2 cards, so it's either going to be a Poison or a Fireball, and he should definitely have those E-Barbs left to take care of any big HP troop, which Miguelito does not have. So we'll see how he uses those E-Barbs in this game. But Miguelito taking a bunch of damage at the start, and as a bait player, as the bait user in a matchup, you definitely don't want to be going down and losing a tower, because bait is all about control, pressuring, and not taking too much damage, because you can rocket cycle your opponent once you're at the same tower damage, but once you're down 2,000 HP in less than 2 minutes, that's a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, this is a rough start here for Miguelito. I don't know if he's gone for a full rebrand from Bale to Miguelito, so, we'll kind of switch back and forth a little bit here. Hugo firmly in control early on. Of course, the big question here is at what point does Bale make any sort of real headway? So far, nothing done on the opposite side. It's been the bar barrel, easy to control, and of course, the flying machine has been a menace. And, I'm wondering here if that fireball was just absolutely buried as the last card.
Yeah, the fireball, I was expecting a rocket. I'll be quite frank with you, because you will never see fireball from my side coming down with bait during a duel set. It's just way too useful to be used in bait, where in bait the big spell is usually just used to rocket cycle the tower and get damage. But here the Fireball obviously does provide a key defensive value. But I just don't see how Bale is going to get any damage aside from that log.
And of course, a lot of
are not going to hit.
Well, and of course, a lot of bait decks running no big spell at the moment as well. So very curious to see Fireball get burned here. Obviously, Fireball nice in a Pigs matchup, but not really working out to his success right now for Miguel. And again, just rough going on both sides. 8-13 on the right-hand side, 6-35 on the left-hand lane as we go into sudden death overtime. And big shout-out one more time to Sajal for the €20 super chat. Each time I catch you live, I'll try to donate something. Request you pass on a portion of this to a good cause. Thanks. Well, don't you worry. I will find some excellent use, and maybe we'll do something fun with some of that, something beneficial, something helpful with some of that fairly soon to end out this year. So here we go. Final 90 seconds of competition, and the first real damage here for Miguelito.
Yep, Bale getting some damage back, but he does have a lot to deal with here, and I don't know how far you are in the game, just how many seconds, like how much time is left for you right now?
1:15. We just hit that King Tower activation. So you and I can do a sync here in just a moment as the Princess goes to the left-hand side. 1:10 remaining, and the Flying Machine picks up everything here at the middle of the bridge.
Yep. So he did end up surviving that attack, and he got that. Like he's bringing the game back very slowly, but it seems like he's just gasping for a chance here. Hugo hasn't defended with the barbell for a while, but he does pick that Golem Barrel up with the Mega Knight. So now, not only does he have a good counter push for this push, but we know that he's going to have the barbell for the next barrel. So this is very troubling for Bale right now.
Fireball does get both the Mega Knight and the Flying Machine, though, but Fireball's in both directions. Things getting very, very difficult on that left-hand lane here for Miguelito. 13:04 is the mark, though, on Hugo's bottom left tower as we go into the final 30. Going to be a very difficult task here for the Team QUESO player to make any real headway. Goes to the front top corner, and the Fireball does pick it up, and that's double value for the Barb Barrel. But the Princesses stay alive, forcing out these Zappies. Log tried to predict there and get the Princesses off the board on the board, but not going to happen. And now Fireball comes out on defense. Fireball opposite direction. Not quite enough here. What a valiant performance by Miguelito. Nearly able to come back from what was an absolutely brutal start, but in the end the lead too far for the Frenchman.
And valiant is the perfect word to describe Bale in that game. Coming down from about 1,500 deficit in the first 2 minutes and only losing by 200 in a matchup where, to be frank, he should have controlled a lot better in the opening minutes, but he proved that he could definitely manage the pressure and just overwhelm stack princesses. We saw him get 3 princesses at one point and just protect them, even with a Dark Goblin at one point, just to try to overwhelm towards the end, but it just simply was not enough.
Yeah, the stacked princesses, and you saw for a moment the prediction attempt with the log. If that log ends up going to the Zappies rather than trying to pre-there down the lane, we might have seen one or both of those princesses get on tower, and that could have been an absolute game changer.
Yeah, if that log was just more towards the middle for those Zappies, maybe that Flying Machine could have gotten taken down by the 3 princesses, and that final princess that he dropped on the edge at the end could have gotten the shot on tower, maybe 2. So very, very crucial decisions, and I mean, even the decision to run Fireball in an opening game with bait is very interesting. We'll see what Bale has for the rest of the best of 3, because it's got to be interesting using Fireball with bait.
Yeah, and that's one of the really interesting things that I was going to ask you about, was we see Fireball go out with bait. Now, on the flip side of it, that was the Pigs matchup, which is pretty much the matchup you want Fireball for, right? You had the Royal Hogs in there, you had the Mother Witch, had the Flying Machine. So, yes, he burned Fireball in a deck that is not as, that seems like it would not be the right deck for it. But on the flip side, you got Fireball in the matchup you really want Fireball for. So there's maybe maybe it's not the worst sacrifice he made here. But then we get into the second part of the question, right? It seems like we've now seen a much narrower focus. We got the Pigs, the Mother Witch, a lot of danger cards, the Flying Machine, which can get abused, all of those out on the side of Hugo. It seems, having played bait in game number 1, it might be much more difficult to predict or put Bale on a deck in game number 2.
That is 100% true. Like you said, Hugo did use that Mother Witch and the Flying Machine and the Zappy, so Fireball baitish cards aren't going to be to the advantage of Hugo and the rest of this best of 3. But Bale does have Hound open if he does want to go with Fireball, like you said, he could abuse a flying machine and other air troops due to that Fireball being gone. Here, though, with Inferno Dragon and Snowball, looks like it could be either Ram Rider or Graveyard from Bale. And we are going to see Ram Rider with P.E.K.K.A from Hugo down there. So, but it looks like it's going to be Ram Rider from Bale as well. So let's see how the support cards play into this one.
So very, very interesting. And the big question, I mean, when you're playing Ram Rider right now, are you favoring Lightning or are you favoring Poison?
With Lightning, depends because, we see that Miguelito has the Poison, but Lightning can be a game-winning card if Bale doesn't have a Dark Prince. Because if Bale has a Dark Prince has more HP than most of the other support cards in that deck. But if he doesn't, then all of his cards are just going to get destroyed by Lightning. But with the Dark Prince, he does have the chance to Lightning block. But with just 2 cards remaining, which are going to be the P.E.K.K.A or the Mega Knight and the Ram Rider, it doesn't look like he has that Dark Prince. So Bale's definitely just hoping that Hugo has a Poison at this point.
So here we go, first minute and a half away, and so far it is Hugo in the lead. He does have the lead also in games as well, although a nice connection on the right-hand side for Bale, 1862 to 1792, and it is the Magic Archer variant being played by Hugo, so he goes try to get a little bit of support there. Of course, Poison will get value against that one, and chooses to P.E.K.K.A up here, being ahead just a little bit of Elixir.
Yep, the P.E.K.K.A from Hugo, and that decision to not Mega Knight or P.E.K.K.A in the back does make me think that Bale does have a Mega Knight, because if he had a P.E.K.K.A, obviously the normal response would have been to just P.E.K.K.A in the back, same lane, to have a decent and very similar attack / defense. But here he is saving the Mega Knight for that exact interaction to get splash on both P.E.K.K.A and the Ram Rider. And now he's still going to be in trouble because obviously P.E.K.K.A one-on-one with a Mega Knight is going to take it. So it's going to be about how these guys play the support groups.
Inferno Dragon gets some good burn, but the high E is saving the P.E.K.K.A for a little while. Bandit, nice play out of Bale, and now he has a pretty solid counter push coming down the lane, and that Dark Prince not going to be sufficient to clean all that up.
That Bandit was so clutch, the way he came back and protected that Mother Witch, which is going to pose a lot of problems for Hugo here if it doesn't go down now. Even though Bale still has another one, he gets 2 pigs, and he's going to get a lot of damage here, Rich.
And that's going to be a real big chunk, as you were saying. Here we go, sudden death overtime, 11:06 to 17:92. And, you know, Bale's certainly in the lead right now, and you got to wonder if maybe that P.E.K.K.A early on was a bit of an overcommitment at that stage in the game.
I mean, if we do consider the Elixir at that time, we saw that Bale did not punish that P.E.K.K.A, so I don't believe it was a terrible move, but I really love how the interactions worked out for Bale. He played that very well. Ram Rider to defend the Ram Rider once the P.E.K.K.A was distracted on the Mega Knight, and just very well executed and very smart decision to hold off on that Mega Knight until the troops got to the bridge.
Magic Archer not getting the geometry right now that Hugo would have hoped for. 11:06 is the mark on his bottom left tower. Behind by just around 500 HP, so certainly not out, and he is running Poison, as we have seen. Triple Elixir on its way.
Yep, triple Elixir, and this is where Hugo is going to be able to make a dent with a bunch of P.E.K.K.As on the field, because that Mega Knight, unless he cycles 2, which doesn't look like it's going to be the case, is just going to get eaten up if Hugo does decide to cycle 2 P.E.K.K.As. And the big thing here is also going to be the Magic Archer, because we see that Bale does not have the Fireball to take care of it on the bridge. He does have a Snowball for knockback, but here we go. 2 P.E.K.K.As on the bridge. We'll see how Bale deals with this.
Bandit trying to sneak on in to help as well. Ewiz staying on the board, but a nice Mega Knight to clean up. Really excellent Mega Knight there, and that takes all the support out. Magic Archer, though. Great geometry here. Shredding through. Perfect piercing damage on the tower, but does Hugo have enough to play defense right now? Snowball in. Ram Rider trying to break through. Ewiz tries to slow it down. Can he DPS down this Ram Rider in time? Snowball to help out. 943 poison ticking.
And
oh boy.
Like
oh boy.
Wow.
What a great play from Hugo to get the Magic Archer damage on tower. But the desperation play, while it did get him the lead, it did put him down in Elixir, and that's a great win from Bale.
That was very, very cleanly played from Bale. Perfect Mega Knights, perfect decision making, great use of the Ram Riders both on defense and offense, and getting a little bit too close for comfort towards the end with that great Magic Archer, as we mentioned, that could pose damage because Bale had also wasted the snowball on defense, and that allowed that Magic Archer to get like 3 to 4 shots, but just pulling it out in the end due to the overcommit, but somewhat necessary Magic Archer from Hugo.
Yeah, I mean, look, there was no other way he was going to get damage on tower. Just at that point, you're figuring out, hey, can I roll the dice well enough to stop the counter push coming in the opposite direction? And unfortunately for Hugo, not able to do it. So we go to a game number 3, both playing P.E.K.K.A. Ram Rider in game number 2. We had the bait with Fireball in game 1 on the side of Bale, and then the Royal Hogs Fireball bait deck in game number 1 on the side of Hugo. So let's talk a little bit about this game number 3 here. Obviously, two really central meta decks, both burned on the side of Hugo with the Royal Hogs Fireball bait and then the Ram Rider deck. Where do you see him going here in game number 3?
Hugo, this is definitely his game to go cycle because he does have that log and he does have EQ open as well. In the first game, he used Fireball. This game, he used Poison. We could also see an RG variant with Lightning coming out from Hugo. But if I'm Bale, I definitely want to go with something to be prepared for Graveyard at least, and something that's not going to suffer too much from Cycle, because we've seen Hugo go in with decks that are not fairly cheap in Elixir. So now, third game, nothing really left. And Bale has 3 options here. He's got Graveyard Freeze, the NATO Bowler variant. He's got a Cycle deck like Bait to try to snipe RG or a possible Graveyard. And he also has RG himself. So it's going to be interesting to see what Bale goes with here. And we can see the decks on the right side, which is honestly so comforting to see. So perfect to analyze and see both players pass decks in the best of 3 for this third game.
Now, interesting for talking about Bale, Fireball and Mega Knight both out for Hugo. So is this a good opportunity for him to go Royal Hogs in game number 3?
That is a good point. Bale with those cards, a Piggy's EQ deck could be useful. We've seen that Mortar Pig's Cannon card deck in the past. But with Bale throwing out the Baby Dragon, it's looking like he is going to be heading towards either Lava or that Bowler Loom Freeze or Graveyard Loom Freeze, which is going to be the case here. Oh, and Hugo with Lava.
Yeah, right into the Inferno Dragon, and of course, this is Lava variants very popular right now, especially with Skeleton Dragons.
With E-Wiz, Ice Wiz. You know, I was going to say there is a variant with Loon NATO that does run Electro Dragon. That could have been a saving grace for Bale. But with this Bomber, I'm kind of thinking that he could also have a Giant Skeleton in there.
Yeah, that Giant Skeleton Loon deck has been relatively popular lately, so we'll see if this is the direction that Bale's going in game number 3. Lava up does Hugo as we get closer to double Elixir time.
Yep, and we see that Lumberjack just running down. Honestly, he could have a P.E.K.K.A. Yep, he is playing Anavan's version of the Loon. And honestly, Bale needs to play some Perfect Clash Royale to pull this one off. He does not have the matchup by any means, and he's got a very tough path getting towards that tower with 3 air troops, cages, and guards for that P.E.K.K.A.
Yeah, guards are certainly brutal when you have that combination with the Inferno Dragon as well, and the NATO not quite pulling the Inferno Dragon all the way to the opposite lane. Here we go. Miner to pick up the Lumberjack. Mega Minion will get to the Loon, and at the moment it's a very nice defense for Hugo, and this is a nice freeze, but doesn't get one of the Skeleton Dragons, and that ends up killing the push before it gets started.
Yep, and I was going to say, Bale was up Elixir during that push. He made Hugo have to pull some very neat defense, and honestly, I don't see the Balloon winning this game for Bale. He's got to do something with that P.E.K.K.A. He's got to get those guards out of cycle, got to use the Bomber to take care of them, and got to get some good NATO freezes on defense, because this is going to be just very difficult. Very, very difficult.
2106 for Hugo. Bale at 1711. Defensive freeze in the middle. 2 Baby Dragons. So a lot of splash here in the middle when you add the Baby Dragons and the Ice Wiz, but so much single target damage, and those are getting absolutely burned off the board. That NATO, maybe a bit of a desperation play here, although it does almost but not quite get the kite, and the freeze does get both Inferno Dragons off. So Bale pulling out all the stops to stay alive right now.
All the stops. I was just thinking that in my head. He is fighting for his life right now. And honestly, I don't think that with this amount of elixir having to be spent on defense to survive, that he's going to be able to generate a successful offense to take the lead at least.
Latak saying arrows, yikes, in the Twitch chat. And yeah, the arrows definitely do hurt when you add in the bomber now is getting ripped off the board here as well. And just the pressure staying on. The Ice Wiz does not get taken off by the miner, though.
Great defense by Bale here. Great defense. And here's going to be a P.E.K.K.A at the bridge. Yep, capitalizing on this Lumberjack. The problem is that Inferno Dragon, which is not locked onto the P.E.K.K.A at this point, we're going to try to see some NATOs or a freeze try to come out and protect it, but it's just not looking good for Bale, Rick.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the big question here is what does he do to break through? And it looks like he's doing the exact idea, is trying to go opposite lane with the push.
Yep, that is. Anaban, if Anaban was to play this deck, I would definitely see an attempt at a balloon push with that Baby Dragon behind the chain to try to get the balloon to not go towards the cage. But here we see the balloons coming down quickly. Watch out, though, on that left side. Yeah, he just can't focus enough elixir on offense, although this is going to get a connection, but then Inferno Dragon on the left. Oh, my God.
Connection
Almost.
Gets in too little too late, though, and Bale. Tough matchup, played it very well. And I think that's probably the story of this best of 3 overall, Mini, is when we look through all the different matches. You know, game number 1 was a tough opening for Bale, who battled back in a great way but wasn't able to steal the victory back away. Game number 2 was just an excellent chess match of the near mirror. And then game number 3, Bale with a tough matchup situation, played it well, did the best he could, but in the end it was too much to overcome here in the hands of Hugo.
For sure, and that's one of those things where Bale's going to be kicking himself for that first game. Because like you said, with that fireball, I feel like Bale should have been much more comfortable than he was in that first matchup. But I mean, that's what happens when you're playing against those type of decks that have so much pressure in terms of the E-Barbs, Flying Machine, Mother Witch, which can spawn so many pigs, and then you have the Royal Hogs themselves that can generate so much pressure. And having guards, obviously a little bit less DPS than the Goblin Gang, and considering the fact that he had a Magnite, those guards didn't fare up all that well, and just lost way too much damage in the early moments of that first game, and then it's cost him the best of 3, Rich.
And that's one of the hard parts in early on with Bait, and GG well played. So, again, this is double elimination, so if you are a Bale fan here watching, I think most of his biggest fans are probably watching the Spanish broadcast, but if you are watching here in English for Miguelito, he's not out. He's down into the lower bracket, the elimination bracket, so we will see more of him later. Hugo moves on into the winner's bracket, and I think we'll get a bracket view here in just a few minutes, so as soon as I see it, you'll see it. But we are, here we go. Here is the winner's bracket. So Hugo, the Frenchman, moving on to face the Prince of Egypt himself, Mohamed Light, in the next round. So we'll see if Hugo can continue to get some good matchup situations, or if Mo Light and Julesy, the match made in heaven, ends up getting the same kind of matchup. Next up in our show today, it's going to be xopxsam against LaPoKaTi. This is going to be a banger. 2 longtime CRL pros, very popular both in their own right, the Mad Scientist and the 2019 Rookie of the Year, going head-to-head, and the winner will face off against Ruben. So that entire chunk of the bracket, it's going to be a whole lot of fun on both sides. Man, I am really pumped for that one. Let's talk a little bit about that matchup there. xopxsam versus LaPoKaTi. Mini thoughts on these two guys going head-to-head?
Well, these two guys, when you think back to CRL teams, and even this year, are one of the most prevalent cycle players. And when you think of cycle, these are definitely 2 players that you have in mind. Obviously, with the introduction of duels, both of these players have expanded their deck pool. I've seen Lapo play some Hound, a bunch of Graveyard. I've seen Sam run the variations of Bait, Miner. Of course, we all know Sam loved that drill when it was meta. But Sam also has I've seen Sam run very good variants of RG. So I'm just really hoping for a cycle showdown in at least one of the 3 matches, and then the rest we can enjoy aside.
And Latak in the Twitch chat, as you can see, saying Rich Slate and Sam finished #1 with 2.5 minor wall breaker cycle. So maybe add a little bit on to Mini Minter's analysis. He isn't known for cycle. He is goated with it. Well, let's see what direction he goes here against OP Sam. Of course, the Germans known for their love of Royal Hogs. And we'll see if that continues today in this matchup as Log cycle to open things up for the German, and Lapo throwing Bandit to the right-hand side to kick off the show.
So it does look like it's going to be RG cycle coming down from Sam, and with a Cage and Bandit and Log, looks like it could be a Royal Hog type of deck from Lapo. I know for a fact that Lapo is working with an Analyst, so with that Heal Spirit, it's definitely going to be Royal Hog. So we'll see how Lapo plays this one out against RG.
Fireball takes the Magic Archer off the board, but doesn't get much more than that. Dark Print's going to require a response. Lapo, though, does currently have the Elixir to do so, and now with a nice little 2 Elixir lead, he chooses to hog up right at the bridge.
Yep, Royal Hog at the bridge, taking advantage of the fact that that Fireball was out of hand and posing problems. Sam having to drop down to 0 Elixir to defend, and a Cage should be enough defense for this Dark Prince, which will also pose some counter push, which Sam will have to respond to when, due to him not having Skeletons in cycle, Fishermen are going to have to go down, and Lapo should be up Elixir at the end of this exchange.
First minute 30 away, and as we pass the midway point of regulation time, damage and Elixir lead slightly for the Belarusian as he cycles his Heal Spirit to the left-hand lane behind the Bandit to get a nice little counterplay here against the Fish Boy, and a beautiful Magic Archer to capitalize on that lineup.
Very, very aggressive Magic Archer, but in this matchup, I definitely feel like that was the right play. Obviously, Sam, once he starts getting to that double Elixir, playing same lane, defending those pigs with Dark Prince and Log or Ewiz, which will also provide a counter push for him on the other lane, because he's definitely going to drop his RGs towards the right most of the time and defend on the left. So Magic Archer there was definitely the right call, in my opinion. Fireball coming down to the Mother Witch Rich.
RG goes to the right-hand lane with the Fisherman behind, Mega Minion on top.
Mega Minion, and with the introduction of the Mother Witch now, I definitely feel like Lapo has a Mega Knight hidden in that deck.
Magic Archer getting some good value here, sitting way back, and the protection on the Magic Archer going nice as Lapo goes to the left-hand lane. Fireball and Skeletons for the 5-5 trade to hold off on defense here. And man, this Magic Archer for LaPoKaTi just will not leave the board.
No, he won't, Rich. And at this point, I do think he's got another one in cycle. Gonna die. Unfortunately, there to the Log, but now he's just gonna play another one in the back after this Mother Witch on the other lane. So very controlled so far from Lapo, and Sam hasn't had a chance to break through at all.
Pigs go to the left-hand lane, Magic Archer behind. This time the Mega Minion played into the outside to prevent the geometry, but the Log might actually get a correction, does not quite touch 809, but so far it has been all Lapo the entire way.
Yep, Lapo definitely controlling this match. Using his Magic Archers perfectly to provide pressure at the bridge. As you can see, Sam had to drop that Mega Minion preemptively because he knew that it was just going to come down, and even then, it doesn't put him at an Elixir deficit. It's just the perfect play. He's controlling the tempo of this match perfectly, and just to note, Lapo has not used a Fireball or any other pick spell in this game, and if he pulls this one off, I'm gonna be leaning towards Lapo just because Sam is wasting his Fireball here, and it just doesn't look like it's getting him any results.
RG does get 2 shots on the right-hand side. Does it get a third? No, not quite. Turns into a pig instead. Fireball goes to the Mother Witch, and now it's the Dark Prince trying to work on the left-hand side against the Royal Hogs. Mega Knight staying alive, though, getting tanked for by a Royal Hog on the right-hand side, and it is just so difficult right now for Sam to control the board.
Sam is struggling. This is giving me shades of that Bale game where he was fighting for his life because Lapo was just putting so much pressure on the field consistently on both sides of the map. So Sam is struggling, but this RG is going to get a little bit of damage. 30 seconds left. Could possibly get some damage towards the end, but pressure from Lapo towards this late game is going to prove very difficult to do that.
Yes, indeed. Fireball in the left-hand lane. Final 15 seconds. Log comes in. 776, though. One good RG push could change things, but the Magic Archer gets one shot, gets two shots, does not get the third. Royal Giant trying to get some damage in. The Goblin Cage picks things up, and that's going to be a GG well played. LaPoKaTi taking game number 1 in this matchup.
Lapo taking the first game with great gameplay and great deck picks, conserving that fireball, getting the juice out of that deck. Obviously, Sam definitely struggling versus all that fireball bait, which is the fireball. Despite him having a fast cycle, Lapo just played his cards perfectly. Mother Witch to pressure perfectly, and once that fireball was either on that Mother Witch or the picks, Magic Archer value just skyrocketed for Lapo. So very well played from him, and Sam back against the wall for this second game.
Back against the wall, indeed. And guys, I see some people are annoyed that I'm not answering the chat as much. This is the European Regional Finals. I have a co-caster. I'm trying to get as many of the messages on screen as I can, but I'm not going to answer every question. So if you're upset that I'm not answering a specific question that you're putting in the chat, I'm not trying to ignore you specifically, but we have a big show here that we're focusing on. And also, Sandy, let's go ahead and unban Brandon Garcia. I don't know what he got banned for, so let's go ahead and maybe bring him back, because I don't think he said anything offensive. He just said one thing in Spanish. So let's go ahead and get that one fixed. Oh, there we go. He is back. There we go. A lot of guys going to take this. Hey, Brandon Garcia, welcome back. So yeah, guys, we might not answer every single question, especially if it's like, hey, is this person going to win? Well, that's why we're here. We're going to watch. So sit tight. I'll get your questions on your comments on here as much as I can. Occasionally, if we have some downtime, I'll answer some questions, but we're going to focus on the gameplay mostly because we have something great here. We have a Clash Royale League Pro, number 16 in the world, Mini Minter, helping us analyze some of these games. So we're going to try to dig in as much as we possibly can. Game number 1, Mini, was a nice performance by Lapo, and as you were talking about, it was Sam kind of burning the fireball and not getting value out of it. What's your thoughts on what Lapo got? I mean, this was the Royal Hogs matchup, though. So what's your thoughts on what Lapo maybe does here in game number 2?
Lapo here, due to the fact that Sam just used, I believe his only air troop in that game was Mega Minion. So he could use, what's it called, Lava, but Sam definitely does have a bunch of answers for Lava for that. So I don't think that Lapo would go for Lava here, more so just comfort. And as we can see here, the Larrys come down from Lapo and a balloon for its play at the bridge. And Sam, after wasting that fireball on the first one, I was going to say he could either use something without a spell, or in this case, looking like that KK log bait with Cannon Cart and Rocket. So this should be an interesting match, Rich. If anything, it depends. Sam uses log, so he does have Snowball. So, and Lapo does have double spell, one of them being Snowball and Bar Barrel. But this is just going to be a great match, honestly. I'm very excited for this one.
Yeah, I mean, and not a match that we see a lot these days, right? This is kind of a big change in the current meta for Clash Royale. I mean, when's the last time you saw bait against Loon Cycle?
Last year in the All-Stars tournament, Rich. It's definitely been a long time. Maybe it's definitely been used sometimes throughout the year with different variants. In February of this year, we saw that Minor Bomb Tower Archers with Mega Man deck become popular. And this bait deck hasn't really been seen that much throughout the year, except in that month where KK brought it out, and then Lucas also brought it out in the finals. But we see Sam, obviously, loving the deck, loving the archetype, and let's see what he can do with it.
Goblin Barrel goes to the outside, picked up fairly easily by the Bar Barrel, and you're talking about Clash Royale League veterans in this bracket. Sam is the only of these 6 players to have appeared in every single season of CRL teams. He was a debut player in 2018. Of course, even then, Sam wasn't there for the whole season, joining up with TSM halfway through and proving to be the last magic piece that they needed to make their way into playoffs. TSM ended up 3rd in the North American region that time out. Lapo, of course, making his debut with Immortals in 2019, and a great splash it was.
Yeah, both those players thinking about their debut, especially Sam with TSM. He was their saving grace for a long time. I remember Mad Scientist, when he didn't have that amazing hair at the time, just coming out with Barb decks that really shook up the entire CRL scene. And Lapo, well, we have all seen what he can do and just how devastating he was in his CRL rookie season. And now we've seen a lot from these guys, and they're facing off today. in the playoffs of the EU bracket, Rich.
Final 18 seconds of regulation, and 1994 sitting on that left-hand side. Bomb Tower comes out to control the Princess on the right. Dark Goblin to clean the Bomb Tower off the board. So a big middle third fight between these two players trying to establish dominance. Of course, both of these are decks that can really hurt you at a moment's notice. And look at that. The skeleton's late. Prince connects. You got to wonder if that was a distraction issue or if that was a lag issue for Lapo.
I definitely believe he thought that Prince was going to get pulled by that Ice Golem and just didn't work out. And those are the kinds of little mistakes in a game that cost you the game. And Lapo's problem, his main problem here is that he can't kill the defensive troops for the balloon while they're on Sam's side of the field, because the snowball doesn't kill anything. If anything, he's got to get a pre-miner on the Rascals. The thing here is, though, that Sam does not have a rocket. So if Lapo pulls off some magic towards this late game, he could end up with a balloon connection and try for a win. So we'll see what he can do, especially in Triple Elixir when he starts cycling those muskies and loons like crazy.
Good read on the low barrel there from Lapo. Goes miner right into the fray. Picked up nicely by the Goblin gang. Princess going to get around to a second one at some point here, I believe, for Sam, as that first one's not been responded to. Instead chooses to Prince into the left-hand lane. Bomb Tower being used against the Princess here on that right-hand side. Final minute, Triple Elixir, and where does this miner go? Trying to predict, I guess maybe trying to get the Rascal girl, or thinking maybe there was going to be something else there.
Yeah, definitely. As we mentioned about a minute ago, he definitely has to go for a miner for the pre-Rascals. And here, Sam's just cycling all his defensive air troops, and there's not much that Lapo can do about it. Obviously, the miner is a very valiant attempt to take care of it, but if he just Goblin gangs on top of the Rascals and Dark Goblin's off to the side, the fact that he still has that snowball just makes it near impossible for Lapo to get a connection.
It was 3 on the board. Now it's down to 2 Princesses. Snowball trying to sneak on through here, but the DPS going to get that thing all the way down. And a good matchup and well played here by OP Sam. Going to tie things up 1-1. We're going to game number 3.
We are, and as we mentioned from the start of the game, the bait deck and the fact that Lapo couldn't kill the troops on Sam's side of the bridge, definitely we saw that posed some problems for Lapo. And Lapo, again, conserving the big spells. Sam conserving... Well, actually, he did use a lot of air defense, so he does have... No, Sam used a Mega Man in the first game. I'm just thinking that Sam is going to pull out a Hunter in this third game to be protected from that air assault. Unless Sam is just not keeping up to date with what Lapo's been using recently. But this is going to be a very, very interesting thing to see what decks these guys come out with. And, I mean, I would be expecting Fireball or EQ from Lapo, but he also does have those arrows open. Maybe a Graveyard Fireball arrows, or maybe he just goes with the arrows for a Lava deck. Who knows? It's going to be interesting to see.
And a quick note for everybody who is in chat. I know there's a lot of people have questions or comments, whatever it is. If you want to get something answered, in between games is a great time to go ahead and put something up. During games, Minnie and I are focusing on gameplay primarily, so I'm not going to be answering a ton of stuff during games. But if you get something up here in between games, I'll do my best to go ahead and get a look at it and respond to it the best that I can. Let's see, Akash saying, Minnie was with Space Station Gaming, right? I don't believe you ever signed on with Space Station. At any point, Minnie?
No, I never signed on with Space Station, but during the summer split last year, back when no-till leagues were also around, and when Space Station was blast off, I was about to join SSG for playoffs, but everything that needed to happen for that playoff day went wrong, and they came in 7th out of the top 6. And then when no-till league was happening during last year, me and she played 2v2, and we helped RF and AC practice a bit when they did win that summer split. So obviously got very close with the guys, great guys, ACRF, and Lapo and Samuel was also on the team. So yeah, I've had some time with those guys, but nothing really too official.
to answer Kaman's question, how many games have been done tonight? We're doing the whole bracket here, I believe, during this 3-hour run. So we're currently on our second match of the day, but I believe it's going to be about 3 hours or so total of show today, maybe a little bit longer, and we're going to get this thing done. So I believe we have, let me do some quick math. If we get the bracket on screen, which we'll get after this matchup, I'll get the basic idea of how many matches we're getting through today, but it's going to be a lot. We're here for at least another 2.5 hours today, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the Clash Royale. Let's see. Judgmental in the Twitch chat saying, Mini, do you see any players building up for finals? Like, who's looking like they might peak here at the right time?
If we're going to talk about players getting towards their peak towards final, I think we can definitely say that Hugo is one of them. Been very under the radar for the majority of his career. Definitely been a pillar for the French team, like you mentioned previously, Rich. And now with Analysts and amplifying his deck pool, he's going to look to fight it out in that last chance qualifier. And out of all the top 32 players, I definitely see him as one of the big contenders to make that top 32.
Certainly has a very good shot. Of course, that last chance qualifier is absolutely brutal. You have to win. You just have two BO3s. You lose one, you're done. So 1 of 4 from each group. We'll move on. Here we go. Speaking of BO3s, game number 3 between Lapo and Sam, and it's Hogrider from the Belarusian here with the third and final.
Yeah, but it is going to be Lapo opting with that EQ for the third game, and Sam opting with Piggy's recruits. Lapo does have that delivery, though, which could be a saving grace in this matchup. Now, this matchup is a very, I would say at least a 65-35 for recruits if it's played well. But we've seen Samuel and some of the other top players pull some magic off with Hogrider against these types of decks. So we'll see how Lapo plays it and how this game carries out. I do see Sam with the Spear Goblins, though. Let's see, does he have those instead of the Zappies or any other chip, or instead of the Electro Spirit?
Now, here's the interesting thing is if you're looking at Lapo's deck pool for this matchup, has not played a big spell the entire time. Played Snowball in Game 2, Log in Game 1, and looking like it's going to be EQ here in Game number 3. So, interesting choice not to use Poison, not to use Fireball, and against this Flying Machine, not having Fireball could prove to be a real serious challenge.
Yeah, definitely could be. And I was just going to say he could be running it with Fireball if he does feel spicy enough, but we see that EQ come down onto the recruits. And now Sam, keep in mind that Sam does not have Fireball, so we could also see a Poison. And I was going to say arrows would have been a great call from Sam, but we do see that he's rocking that bar barrel, which is not going to get all that much value in this game.
So first 2 minutes done as we go into double elixir time. For the moment, things fairly tight. The slight lead for OP Sam with 2019 on the left-hand side. About Almushin asking, would 2.6 hot cycle be a good choice for a tournament? Generally not, especially not in dual mode. But it depends on who you're playing against and depends on how good you are at 2.6. But against players like this, I would certainly not be throwing 2.6 Hogrider into the mix.
Yeah, definitely not. With so many things that are able to just hard counter 2.6, it's definitely there's just a lot more better and solid deck options out there for dual modes. For example, this Hog deck that Lapo's rocking here, definitely a much more solid deck instead of 2.6, because, for example, if Lapo were to go up against some Graveyard, this deck would definitely pull it out as opposed to 2.6. But anyways, Rich, we're seeing that Sam is rocking those Spear Goblins instead of the Electro Spirit, which we commonly see with this Recruits deck. So those Spear Goblins are honestly just going to not provide all that much value, but they are 2 Elixir, and they do get some DPS if left untreated. So we'll see if they end up making a difference maker throughout the end of the game, or how Sam is going to be able to try to pull this out. If anything, I would definitely, if I was Sam, I would be attempting to stack Flying Machines towards double and triple Elixir.
We'll see if he is able to. Again, not really concerned about any sort of spell taking it off. Flying Machine, the abuse of Flying Machine should be a key factor, and look at that. Flying Machine does get on tower for a moment on the right-hand side. It looked like it did at least. 1602 on that right-hand tower, and just like that, Sam is back in the mix here against Lapo.
Yep, great catch with the E-Spirit to correct that Flying Machine, which got about 2 shots on that tower. But we do see Lapo controlling the tempo here, not really getting overrun by anything.
And look at the way that Sam's trying to protect the Flying Machine the best that he can here against that Tesla. Bar Barrel goes in the middle again. Flying Machine staying on here, but does get taken off on the left-hand side. 1400 to 1602 as we enter into triple. Cage into the middle here. EQ working on the recruits rather than the Cage.
Yep, and this is where Sam needs to drop the Flying Machine now from the back, and there we go. We're going to see Sam cycle back to another Flying Machine to try to overrun Lapo and what's left of this game. More recruits, and the recruits, I believe he's got another Flying Machine at this point. He's going to drop the Royal Hog on the right-hand lane. Spear Golems on the left to try to create pressure, but it looks like Lapo was just holding down the fort here on the right-hand side. We're going to have about even damage here, but we're going to see at least 2 more EQs come down for Lapo, so Sam has to get a connection here.
Trying to get the Bar Barrel in front of the Flying Machine. Pigs and Spears to the middle. Flying Machine gets taken off. Poison to the right-hand side. Lapo might even get this Pig on tower. Does not. EQ in. If this Hog hits, it's definitely over. Not going to be enough ticks on the right-hand side. Poison, not enough time. Piggy's in. GG, well played. LaPoKaTi takes it in game number 3. What a fun matchup this was, back and forth. He'll be moving on to face Ruben in our next round.
Lapo, Ruben, Hugo, Mohamed Light, and in the loser bracket, we're about to see, I believe it's going to be Sam versus, actually, no, we don't have the loser bracket. Actually, I just need to see the bracket here.
Yeah, they'll be awaiting the people who take L's in the next round, in fact. So they'll be holding on for a little bit to wait to find out who they'll be playing in that next stage. But at the moment, it is Lapo moving on. And we should get the bracket up here in a moment, so we can get the full picture of what things are going on. And we don't have the actual bracket filled out yet because it is a 6-man style bracket. You can see Latak making the note there as well. Let's see. A lot of GGs here in the chat from a lot of players, from a lot of people who are watching right now. Next game, I believe, is going to be Hugo versus Mohamed Light. So for those of you who are watching, I believe it's Hugo versus Mo Light as our next one. So we can get that ready for our next prediction for those of you watching on Twitch. We are on both Twitch and YouTube, by the way. Wherever you're watching, glad to have you here. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We are pushing for 40K right now at about 33,000. And there you go, taking a look at the bracket. We do have the full winners bracket filled out now. It will be Hugo versus Mo Light up next. And then Lapo versus Ruben. The losers of those two will go down to the elimination bracket against Miguelito / Bale and OP Sam, who get a little break here for a little while. Let me take a look at the chat here for a moment. Ray Cow saying, can you say hi to me? Hello, Ray. How are you? Already here saying Lapo is the best player. Well, we'll see. He's has a lot more work to do, but certainly a really fun guy to watch. Tribbiani, Joey. Oh, I think I see what you did there. Saying hi, Rich. Poppin', a big fan of Mo Light. Sandy with the subscribe. OP Mod Sandy with the subscribe reminder there for you guys as well. Let's see, over on the Twitch side, I think everyone on Twitch is just actually talking Clash Royale, so to each other. Judgmental saying interesting how different regions play different decks, and oh, never mind, that's what I was trying to say. Boom! This one right here. Let's see, Max Pang, hyped for World Finals? I know I am, and I'm pretty sure that my co-caster Mini Minter is pretty hyped for World Finals too.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Looking forward to it. Shame that it's online, as I believe as Drew has said on Twitter, but definitely lots of especially with this last chance qualifier, 2 best of 3s, people fighting for their lives, and gives me flashbacks to that No Tilt World Championship where it was like 1,028 people brackets. There's constant best of 3s, one after the other, but now it's essentially brackets of top 4s and people fighting to get in that top 32.
And a question there, do you think Hog EQ Firecracker is still good in the meta? And certainly still getting played variations of Hog EQ with Firecracker, so I think it's more about the matchup, Ruben. And again, like, you might talk about the ladder meta. Of course, I focus primarily on the dual mode meta. But yeah, that's it is certainly still viable in the dual mode meta, especially based on what you've seen so far. Adita asking, what's your favorite deck, Rich? Well, my personal best was with Skill Drill, Magic Archer, NATO, and I kind of miss. I know the drill needed a nerf, but I kind of miss it personally. Right now, I'm playing Lava Miner Guards, and I'm having some fun playing that one. I've never really been a Lava player, and trying it out. So those are the things that I'm running at the moment. Mini, what are you running on ladder right now?
I haven't been playing all that much ladder recently, Rick, but I have been playing that double elixir global tournament, and I did play with that lava miner that you fancy yourself, and it's a really fun deck, definitely effective in this meta. But it's time to focus on the important stuff. Hugo versus Light matchup getting underway. Who do you have for this one, Rich?
I mean, how do you not pick Mohamed Light in almost every... If there's any matchup starting from 0 where you're not picking Mohamed Light, there might be like 3 or 4 people on the planet that you can make that argument for. If you're just doing, hey, we've seen no decks, seen no cards, and nothing's been played yet. So certainly Mo, the favorite here, but Hugo more than capable of taking a W in this one. To answer a couple questions early on. Nice shades. Oh, just take your analysis. Oh, that's very nice from you here. And, yeah, I'll answer some more questions at our next break. At the moment, though, it is Hugo running what looks like it's going to be Royal Hogs against Mo. What looks like... Is that Graveyard or is that Hog Rider?
Yeah, that is Graveyard. And his spell should be Snowball. I believe Julesy likes planning this variation for Mo. Looks like Mo was going to go in here taking advantage of that Mother Witch not being in cycle, but a poison coming up from Hugo. This could be what Hugo needs to take a game off of Mo.
This is pretty big. I mean, Poison, Mother Witch, and not to mention the Furnace could also be used to stack up on whatever side you're trying to defend against. So lots of options here for Hugo in this matchup. Of course, having Valk, Fireball, and Tesla all together won't be too bad for the Prince of Egypt. And congratulations, Caesar's username with the strangest comment of the day so far. I wish I could kiss Rich goodnight every night. Thank you, I guess. I don't really know how to take that one, but I appreciate that you care. Here we go into our double elixir time, and Hugo sets up Furnace into his strong side rather than his weak side.
Yep. The problem with this is Momo just has all the answers for whatever Hugo throws at him. He's got Valk. Although Hugo just not running Royal Hogs, he's just running basically spam. He's got no real win condition and going to try to overrun Mohamed Light. But trying to overrun arguably the best defensive player in the game is going to prove very, very difficult for Hugo. Interesting choice by him.
Well, it is one of those questions, right, when you're talking about how do you actually prepare or plan to go up against a player with the caliber of gameplay and analysis that comes from Mo Light's camp. And, I think that trying to skill Mo for most players is kind of a bad call. It's a rough call. We've talked about this a lot of, what do you go for when you go against Mohamed Light and or against a player of this caliber? And not to say Hugo isn't a great player, but, there's great players and then there's the top 5 players on the planet. And so this is an interesting and not a bad call here if he can hold on the defense and find a way to maybe get some good poison value.
Yeah, definitely not. This deck is proven to have defended so far in this match. Honestly, one of the better matches for this deck with Momo running Graveyard. Hugo is just going to try to control, and Momo can't go for offensive Graveyards without wasting his Fireball on that Mother Witch. And once that happens, that's going to be Hugo's time to shine with that Flying Machine and those Zappies.
Final 80 seconds, triple elixir, very, very close, and Fireball working on that left-hand side. And the moment it comes out, you see Mother Witch going behind the Mega Knight and the Zappies and getting a lot of good value here. This is the first real significant damage coming in, and the poison as well. So this might be a nice chance to chunk just a little bit for Hugo, and like that, he does take the lead. Going to be under 2,000 HP on the right-hand side for Mo.
Yep, and we do see that the Mother Witch is not in cycle now. Should have come down on the inside part of the King Tower, but it looks like he's going to opt to build up a push. Momo taking the lead here, and questionable decision-making from Hugo. And this starts coming down to what I mentioned previously, trying to overwhelm arguably the best defensive player in the world. Proven very, very difficult for Hugo right now.
You saw Hugo did see the Fireball go down around his Princess Tower and was then willing to go ahead and do 2 Fireball cards in the Mother Witch and the Flying Machine right in the middle of the board. but just not able to break through right now. Mo cycling very well and choosing the Fireball cycle on tower rather than worry about this flying machine. That's a very interesting choice here. Poison comes in, Bandit trying to get past on the right-hand side. Flying machine does not go through, and that's going to be a GG. Well played. Mo doing some great math here at the end, not worried about the breakthrough, instead putting the damage on tower and getting a nice win here in game number 1.
And that's just classic Mo Light for you. Perfect decision making, perfect defense, and pulling out the win. That's what he does.
So some questions here from the chat. Eli asking, do you think it's always a bad idea to play naked graveyards? And always is never a word that I like to use, but 94% of the time, bad idea to play naked graveyards. There are maybe a limited number of situations where they can have value, but it's certainly very limited overall. Tough matchup, says Poppin. Very good game, says Mehmet. Logbait saying, WTF, did he win? Wow. So some great gameplay here. And Justin saying, props to Hugo, though not a bad way to lose. Well, that's one of those tough ones, right? You know, we've had various no-win condition decks come through CRL or Clash Royale over time. Very few of them have had any real true successful runs, though, many.
Yeah, I'm definitely not one to prefer decks without a win condition myself. Especially against Mo Light, which, I mean, no win condition decks rely on either you getting a very good out cycle or like a fireball or something to abuse a card such as Mother Witch, or your opponent slipping up on defense. So interesting call from Hugo. Didn't pay off in this one, but he did save his fireball for the rest of the games, and Mo wasted his fireball and snowball. So we interested to see what Mo's gonna run. I could say that Mo could run X or Y, but Mo can pull out any deck right here. So I'd rather just watch and see how this one goes.
Adita asking in the YouTube chat here, who are you guys rooting for? So, of course, we do have all 6 players still in the game, but I think right now he's probably talking about our Mo versus Hugo matchup, but maybe not. So go ahead and throw it in the chat either way. Who are you rooting for overall? Who are you pulling for in this particular match between the current #1 player in the world and the very talented Frenchman? And let's go ahead and move into game number 2.
Game number 2, and we see the Spear Goblins coming out from Hugo, maybe a minor Magic Archer Wallbreaker cycle, now that Mo's wasted it, but with Fisherman kind of leaning towards Royal Hogs here. And just like that, Hugo's taking, 800 damage to his tower in less than 30 seconds. So not the best start for Hugo, and Mo just up Elixir right now. And Mo's using that Mega Knight Royal Hogs deck with just could be using it with Log or Barbell. Or he could do that. That's
3M.
Yeah.
3M Royal Hog. So Mo here maybe trying to stunt a little bit, show off. I mean, Three Musketeers even now still isn't I wouldn't call it a meta deck at all. And of course, Mo making it look easy in the first minute.
Yeah, this is why I didn't predict the deck from Mo. This pulls out on Three Musketeers. Honestly, out of all the decks, I don't think I've seen Mo play something like 3M in a long, long time. But interested to see the spells from Mo, and Hugo's just already got an uphill battle against an opponent that already makes the skill gap uphill. So it's gonna be very, very difficult for Hugo, and this is looking like a great start to the tournament for Mo.
Getting close to double Elixir, and of course, that's going to be a nice time for Mohamed Light, although Piggy's push does force out a pretty hefty response, but it will turn into at least a small counterplay for the Prince of Egypt.
Yep, definitely going to force out some Elixir on defense. Nice Hunter, if you can get a decent Heal Spirit on this Hunter, but not looking to be the case. And that other tower's not shooting the Bandit. Hugo in trouble.
Oh,
Heal
boy.
Spirit jumps, heals up the Bandit. That's going to be a tower down, Rich.
That's a tower down, and you can see Hugo waving the white flag, knows he was just outmatched here. 3M Royal Hogs, a pretty throwback deck selection here by Mohamed Light, probably the breakout deck of CRL in 2018, back in that first fall season. Of course, the Heal Spirit may be a bit of a cheeky, more modern addition to it, but Either way, Mo goes Throwback Thursday on a Saturday and gets a clean 2-0 win, moving to our Winners Bracket Finals, where he is going to await the winner of our other Winners Bracket Semi, who we'll, of course, have in the next 15 or 20 minutes. So no surprises here. Mo moving on, and moving on in style.
In style, as always, nothing new. I mean, we could have a discussion on how great Mo is for about just the entire stream. But we have the bracket here. Mo in the winner bracket semifinals. And now Lapo versus Ruben. Could be an interesting match there, Rich.
Yeah, Lapo versus Ruben is really fascinating. You have two guys who both entered CRL in 2019. Lapo, of course, in that spring season. Ruben not joining until the fall, as he still hadn't turned 16 yet. And both of them, of course, making pretty big splashes. Lapo helping his team make a pretty good run and get all the way to the what was it called? The World Cyber Games that summer in Xi'an, China. It was a great impact for him. And people forget how impactful Ruben was on that 2019 CRL team for Team QUESO. Of course, 2020 was when they went on to win the World Championship. But in 2019, Team QUESO had a very, very good opportunity to make World Finals that year as well, and just fell the tiniest bit short. So, two guys who both came in and made big splashes, big performances as rookies in that fall season, and of course have gone on to have some pretty great moments. So Ruben versus Lapo, if you asked me this 2 years ago, this would be, to me, a very, very razor-thin matchup. But it does feel like right now, even though Ruben has not been as dominant in 2021 as he was in 2020, he's still a top 5 player in the world.
Yeah, definitely Ruben. Feeling the effects of this solo CRL format, where so many players just have the chance to shine and show their skill. Definitely feeling definitely has a bit of a chip on his shoulder against all the other great players, and this is one matchup which we can actually think back to, like you said, 2019, when both of these players started out, and now let's see how they do here in a new dual mode and new competition. Lapo starting with Skellies, Ruben with Archers. Could be RG from Lapo, and Ruben could be Graveyard. Doubt Ruben is running Expo, so definitely would have to lean with Graveyard for Ruben and RG for Lapo.
Might be Hog for not anymore, not with the Baby Dragon, never mind. Ruben known for running lots of Hog, lots of Loon, of course, and going Graveyard here in game number 1 instead.
Yep, great cycle there from Lapo to cycle that Mega Minion back for that Baby Dragon, and great. Notice how that Fisherman was fairly early. Other players might have tried to waited for that Valk to advance to have a chance to activate the King Tower, but Lapo knew that Graveyard was coming down. Gets the quick Fisherman. Valk dies relatively quickly due to both towers, and minimizing the amount of damage there. Has an Elixir advantage and starts to RG in the back, Lapo.
LaPoKaTi, maybe his most famous game of Royal Giant, mentioned on the stream a couple of times in the past, but would have to be in CRL 2020 in that fall split, running RG Triple Spirit when he was trolling his good friend Igor as they faced off. Would love to get a nice RG win here, of course, against Ruben, but right now it is the Spaniard in the lead, 23-74 to 21-51, as we go past halfway in the first 3.
Yep, and there is another RG in cycle from Lapo. I believe Ruben is 2 cards off from that Tesla, or at least 1. So maybe we'll see some aggression here from Lapo. Looks like he just decides to do it in the back again. Archer split coming down to not eat that Electro Spirit, which is questionable decision. 3 Elixir to not receive about 100 damage from that Electro Spirit. And Lapo, even on Elixir with an RG and a Tesla on the board for Ruben. See how this defense goes off. Great Fisherman to pull that Valk. And Fireball for the Tesla comes out very well timed, and that's a connection for Lapo.
Double Elixir, and it is LaPoKaTi with the lead as he sets up his next RG.
Back, RG from the back again from Lapo, and honestly, with this quick cycle from Lapo, I do see him fairly comfortable, especially with that Mega Minion for that Baby Dragon to defend against the Graveyards. And Ruben not exactly having the quickest response towards that Mega Minion, like a Mega Minion of his own. So, yeah, Lapo's looking to pull away with this one, but we do have to wait until that triple Elixir, of course, with everybody knowing how dangerous that graveyard is. In ×3, great block from Lapo there to prevent the Baby Dragon tank, though.
Yeah, and as you were saying that, you see the RG come to the right, and oh no, Ruben fat fingers the fireball and activates King Tower here, and this is not one of the graveyard decks that gets a lot of damage from the bridge. You know, you see Cannon Cart Graveyard these days, and a King Tower activation, as long as you have the defense locked down, isn't necessarily end of the world, but with this variant, it does feel like that's going to be too hard to overcome.
Yeah, definitely. Although that Mother Witch was not the best, definitely going to open the window for Ruben to get some, I was going to say a Graveyard attack down, but with that wasted Baby Dragon on the right-hand lane, just doesn't look good for Ruben. That was very unfortunate with the Fireball.
And RG does go to the right-hand side here, and as we approach triple elixir, Ruben could shut down some defense, try to really cycle graveyards on the left-hand lane, but has a lot to overcome and to defend against. Nice fireball value there against the Archers. Can he DPS down Lapo's RG? It's feeling like it's going to be very difficult as Lapo sets up another one. And right now for LaPoKaTi, it's just do everything he can to prevent this from happening on the left-hand lane.
Yep, quick fireball coming down for that Mother, which Graveyard is getting some damage in, more than should be expected with King Tower activated. Double RG from Lapo at the bridge. This is going to be difficult to defend from Ruben. Let's see how he tries to pull it off. Hard fireball on the left-hand line. Ruben in trouble.
And the RG on the left-hand side might actually extend the lead further than the one on the right-hand side, and for the moment it does. 916 down to 662 as another Royal Giant comes down the right-hand side. This was already a difficult situation for the Spaniard, and Lapo now putting more and more pressure on. And that King Tower activation, certainly impactful, but it felt like Lapo was in solid control the whole way through, no matter what, and that's going to be a GG well played. LaPoKaTi taking game number 1 off the defending world champion.
Very well played from Lapo. Unfortunate King Tower activation from Ruben, and Lapo and Ruben both wasting their fireballs in the first game, so it's going to come down to some pretty interesting matchups in the rest of this best of 3, Rick. Seeing if Ruben can clutch it up and pull it back.
That's going to be a brutal one, and that fireball getting on the King Tower, definitely not what Ruben wanted in that matchup, obviously. Would have loved to see that play all the way out, but of course Lapo in a good situation there. Taking a look at the chat here for a moment. Lapo always gets value for fireball, says Poppin. Adita saying Mother Witch gave too much value, certainly was. Bia saying Lapo playing godly today, and Vincent with the little looking fresh here. Yeah, you know, I put a little stuff in my hair, guys. Wanted to look pretty just for you. I saw that, we saw someone earlier wanted to kiss me to bed, and I think it's probably the hair. So thank you very, very much. I do appreciate all the love. Ashwin Ram, hard counter after hard counter, finally hit 6.7K. And then maybe the best question of the day so far, is Mo really the Prince of Egypt, or is this an insider joke? No, there was a movie called Prince of Egypt that was about Moses and Ramses. It was a Disney movie. Maybe it wasn't Disney. It was like DreamWorks. It was a movie that came out in a long time ago called Prince of Egypt. And he's from Egypt, and he has a golden chair. All that kind of, if I have to explain it, it's not worth it. Jen saying such good plays from both contestants. Luck to all. Yep. Certainly do hope so. Interesting question here from Sluggish Crow. Can Mini Minter comment on how age affects CR gameplay for pro players? Do you think it's really anything about the age, or is it more about the older you get, the more other stuff you have going on in your life that makes it more difficult to commit to Clash Royale?
What you just said is one of the most realist things playing Clash Royale. All these younger players, the younger you are, I remember you don't have all that many responsibilities. You can just game out all day, practice as much as you want, really be focused, and get really enveloped into Clash Royale itself. But me, as a person who's turned 18 last year, turning 19 this year, started university, it definitely, you can feel the effects of not being able to commit to Clash Royale like full time, and have to have other things going on. And even though younger players do have their responsibilities such as school and all of that, I definitely feel like it benefits younger players just slightly because they can commit so much more time. For example, like a player like Mohamed Light, which can play so many GCs in 1 week, or it's just younger players can dedicate much more time to the game. But at the end of the day, it's just up to how badly you want it. So, yeah, game number 2.
And next weirdest comment of the day, we already had the kissing comment. Fight and Hide saying, Rich, you would have a nice look with mutton chops. Mrs. Slayton would not allow mutton chops, and honestly, neither would I, but thanks for the suggestion. Here we go into game number 2. Fireball played on both sides. Royal Hogs played on neither side. So very interesting options here as we go into our second game. And kind of a throwback here. We don't often see this much of a standstill to open up Clash Royale these days.
No, we don't. And this could be the game where Lapo decides to go out with that Hound that I mentioned for his game versus who did Lapo play first game? Sam, right? Yeah. Since his first best of 3 was Sam, could be a Hound from Lapo right now, and Ruben just used Graveyard, so could be a Hound from him as well. Or maybe like a Ram Rider, Magnite Ram Rider as well. We'll see. 40 seconds left.
Yeah, really interesting to see a big stall here. And, of course, people in the chat, a lot of people talking about how it's going to be beat down here. And SB Roy in Twitch saying Lavaloon Mirror matchup incoming, red alert. But, you know, while it's certainly a possibility, things did change over time where the opening delays don't always mean that both players are playing heavy. Sometimes it's about starting hands. So we'll see probably in about the next 10 seconds or so whether this is a beatdown matchup or whether one of these two players had a starting hand challenge. And very interesting. So Ruben probably playing Lava here. We'll see what Lapo's doing.
Lapo looking like it's going to be Royal Hogs recruits from him, and Ruben, actually no, looking like it's going to be Mega Knight Royal Hogs with the E-Barbs, that variant. Ruben does have Barbs though, so that does prove very effective against dealing with those E-Barbs as long as he has the elixir for them throughout the game. Great poison from Lapo, catching all of the air support, and that was just a very nice poison all around. And we mentioned that one of these players could be coming out with Hound. It is going to be Ruben at this point.
Well, and, you know, look at the cards Ruben's put in this deck between Barbs, the Flying Machine, and the Skeleton Dragons. And you talk about how do you take advantage of the Fireball being out of cycle. And you see that both sides. On Lapo's side, Skelly Dragons, Flying Machine, and Zappies. So both players trying to find opportunities to capitalize on that. But so far, the spell value has gone better for Lapo, but damage lead for Ruben as we go into sudden death.
Yep, Lapo there trying to overwhelm, not seeing the cage yet from Ruben, trying to predict the E-Barbs on some Barbs to clean them up really quickly. But holding off on those Barbs and putting them right on top of the E-Barbs proves to be a good defense, although Lapo is pulling some damage back with these Royal Hogs.
Another high poison here, and you see 2 parts of value of the poison. You know, and that's one of the things a lot of you see pros adapting to the poison rework or poison change as of late, because that 15% slowdown in movement speed is absolutely huge for winning these bridge fights. So a lot less concern with poison getting value on tower, and a lot more concern, or a lot more use at least, of poison to win bridge fights. And so far, Lapo doing his best to control, but Ruben has been getting in pretty deep. Here we go with the E-Barbs to the right-hand side, and classic Barbarians for a +1 trade, not to mention counterplay from Ruben.
Yep, Lapo expecting that Lava Hound to come down, but Ruben decided to hold off, and it proved to be the correct play as Lapo just dropped those E-Barbs on the other lane. This is very difficult for Lapo because not only does he not have anything to drop directly on top of those air troops he has the poison, but he can't split his air defensive well enough to the point where they don't all get air and get like 1 or 2 shotted. So here, Mega Knight gonna come up just to save Lapo for this one, but another Hound coming down from Ruben, and this just seems like it's inevitable for Lapo at this point.
And Miner gets in, final 20 seconds. That's going to be a GG, well played. And Tesfaye asking in the YouTube chat here, and I think I know the answer to this one, but you know, I'll give my thoughts. Ruben using an outdated version of Lava, and yes, you might call Lava Miner Barbs an outdated version, but it feels like the reason why the guards are more popular right now because with guards, you get the 1-1 trade if they're playing arrows, but with Fireball being so popular and Barbs being a -1 trade, it seems that both for cycle and for matchup, it feels like guards might be better overall, but in this situation with Fireball gone, we obviously saw that Barbs got a whole lot of value.
Yeah, those Barbs definitely helping him for that for those A-Barbs. And now, what's it called? Both players have used their Fireball. Lapo has used Poison and Fireball, so he's definitely inclined to use either something Cycle or maybe some bait without any spell. And Ruben does have that Poison, does have that Lightning, so Ruben could also pull out some P.E.K.K.A. Ram Rider. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what these guys pull up for the third game.
Yeah, we will see. And I see, just to answer the question on the YouTube chat here, some people asking about why English only in the chat. This is a family-friendly stream, and we only have mods who speak English at the moment. So if you're speaking in other languages in the chat, we don't know if you're being family-friendly or not. And so we just ask you keep it to English only in our chat for this stream, just so that we make sure that we're able to make sure that everyone who's watching, any kids at home who do maybe speak that language, aren't encountering toxicity or foul language, things like that. If you do want to speak in Spanish or type in Spanish, if the link in the description below takes you to Revel Amar's stream, which is the Spanish language stream, and of course that's all Spanish chat over there. So. Just we're trying to make sure that this is friendly for all ages of viewers, and that's why we keep it English in the chat across the board. So appreciate it. I know that might be frustrating for some, but if you're here, I think you probably understand English, so maybe you can type it as well. But that's our reasoning for keeping it English only in the chat here. Taking a look at some of the questions. There was a Twitter discussion among pros about teams versus solo. Thoughts, Rich Slayton. I've made my thoughts on this very clear many times. I think teams is certainly a more interesting thing from a viewership perspective. Solo's infinitely better for players outside of the select few who had opportunities in teams. There might be a way to find the best of both worlds at some point, but neither one is perfect for a wide variety of reasons. I think this year has been not as good for some very specific players and much better for many other players. So it's kind of the question is always, what's your goal with CRL? And depending on what your goal is, makes it whether teams or solo is better. But I would say that from a viewership perspective, I prefer teams. But the solo state that we have right now is certainly more equitable and gives everyone a pretty good chance, which is also really fun as well. So either way, we're going to have a great World Finals, and my co-caster Mini Minter will be there for that World Finals as well. Speaking of some of the controversies here, Mini, one of the big controversies in CRL that popped up on Twitter the other weekend was the addition of a bit of a prize pool to the last chance qualifiers. So I'll pose this question to you. Would you be willing to give up your $15,000 guaranteed that you have for having qualified for World Finals and maybe more for a chance to win an extra $5,000 on top of that, but only if you win 2 BO3s?
Nope.
There you go, and there's your answer for it. So, so it might be quote-unquote unfair that some players can qualify in for an extra $5K, but I think that 15 grand guaranteed, plus maybe more, might be the better route for some. And thanks again, Sandy, reminding everyone to subscribe if you're watching. We're on the road to 40K right now, past 33,000 just last week. And hope you join us here for more great Clash Royale competitive content like this. And it is Ruben going to Ram Rider here in game number 3 against Lapo, who opens up with the Baby Dragon.
Yep, so Lapo's going to be going with Hound for this third game. We expected these types of decks to come out rich, and now it's time to see how they're going to fare against it. Ruben protecting that Mother Witch like it's his own mother with a Bandit and Dark Prince to make sure that the miner does not touch it at all, and Lapo has to deal with this counter push right now.
And counter push mostly dealt with, although Lapo choosing to eat damage here rather than respond to the Mother Witch. I mean, is he just setting up for a big opposite lane push here?
Yeah, definitely. He's going to be dropping that Lava Hound right now, and if he were to spend something else on that, he would have just been in a defensive cycle for at least until double elixir. So trying to take advantage now, and looks like those zappies, depending on Lapo's spell, those zappies could pose problematic as opposed to an Inferno Dragon from Ruben, which would be, and that Bar Barrel missed times. So this is going to be a tough defense for Lapo, and let's see if he can capitalize on it. I mean, tough defense for Ruben.
For Ruben, and the miner with the arrows goes in real hard, but a nice poison to counter, and look at that, the pig's controlling. So, just when you feel like maybe Ruben is reeling on his back foot, able to recover nicely, and does maintain the lead, 15-58 to 21-56 here as we go into double.
Yep, very nice defense from Ruben protecting that Mother Witch. And now we've got both players playing their big card, and I'm favoring Lapo for this defense because this Goblin Cage should be enough to distract the Mega Knight. And the barbs on the top of the Ram Rider should prevent too much damage. So yeah, we're going to see, obviously he's taking a little bit of damage, but now he's got a full Lava Hound on that lane. And Inferno Dragon coming out, let's see the Miner and arrows that are going to come out. He doesn't have the Poison Cycle, so Miner in the back is going to be devastating. But he did use it on defense, so I think he's got one more card to go. Let's see if that Miner goes directly to the Mother Witch. Very quick Miner to that Mother Witch. Let's see if it goes down. It does not, and that is going to save Ruben from losing this game. Wow.
Really brilliant defensive play here from Ruben, and Bandit goes coast to coast here. And I guess the big question, the question I was going to ask was how much does Ruben commit on that right-hand side? And he goes pretty heavy on the right-hand lane here. I guess he's confident in his ability to control against this Lava Hound.
Yep, definitely. For that defensive Miner, I feel like Lapo was expecting that Ram Rider to come down, which is going to come down now that the Goblin Cage goes down. Lapo's just not too comfortable in this matchup, which isn't all that terrible for him. He needs to utilize his Inferno Dragon because there's no real reset. He has his Zappies. But those are being more focused on defense, so those barbs are going to go down fairly quickly. Ram Rider doesn't look like it's going to be getting anywhere, and now that bandit's that's a great bandit. Oof. Puts Lapo. That wins the game for Ruben.
Wow.
Great bandit from
Ruben.
Ruben.
You talk about a leapfrog. That bandit played the whole game from front to back. 2 targets plus tower. And now it's just waiting for Ruben to get back to his poison and close this thing out. So we're going to have a great matchup for our winner's bracket final. You want to see it one more time? We'll get at least one of these, maybe 2, maybe even 3. Ruben versus Mohamed Light in the winner's bracket final. And of course, if you're tuning in, that's probably the matchup that you really wanted to see. GG, well played. And it was a great matchup overall. But you were talking about how Lapo had a pretty decent situation. Was it just not getting the Inferno Dragon in the mix the way that he needed to?
Yeah, he used his Inferno Dragon on offense one of those times. And he used it, and then he was at 0 elixir, and then he played a Baby Dragon, and then the arrows, and then he has to cycle back to his Miner. So I do think that Miner on defense was his downfall, because if he played that preemptively on that Mother Witch before that Bandit was able to come down and kill it. I mean, Ruben did a great job of protecting his Mother Witches, which was what won in the game. None of his Mother Witches died on his side of the field, which was what he needed to do. But I feel like Lapo just, as we know him as a cycle player, and I feel like it was a little bit notable that he didn't have he wasn't that comfortable with the matchup and that archetype all that well.
Yeah, and that was a pretty tough one there, and someone in the chat called Ruben overrated, and Ash making my point for me. Yeah, just a CRL world champion and 5th on the CRL leaderboards. So I guess if you can overrate that, then sure you can. But very, very nicely played by Ruben. We're gonna have a great matchup between those two. Of course, a lot of road to travel before that one happens. We do have 2 lower bracket, elimination bracket semifinals coming up here. It's going to be Bale, a.k.a. Miguelito, up against Lapo. That's an elimination match. And then xopxsam versus Hugo. The 2 winners of those matches will face off in the elimination bracket final. So what I believe the match order is going to be Miguelito versus Lapo, Sam versus Hugo. Then I believe from there we go to our winner's bracket final between Mo Light and Ruben. We'll go back to our lower bracket semifinal against Miguelito and or against whoever wins from there. I think that's the order, but we are either going to have 2 matches and then Mo versus Ruben, or 3 matches and then Mo versus Ruben. So as soon as I know, you guys will know as well. Danny Tran with a little super chat from Canada. Who does Minnie think is the best player in CR right now? Minnie, to you, who do you think is number 1 right now?
Definitely Momo, without a doubt, without a question. Man, why does even when I'm streaming, people put me on the spot? It's like I gotta have a little soliloquy on how great Momo is. Like, man, this is perfection. Like, you've never seen a guy that practices that much, gets such efficient results, and just has so much dominance. I mean, anybody earlier on this year, Mo was 2-0ing Ruben consistently throughout competitions. Obviously now Ruben's pulled some of them back, but just Mo is the perfect player, and well, like considering dedication, skill, and everything into account. But enough about Mo. Right now it's all about Hugo and Sam fighting for their lives in this lower bracket, Rich.
Yeah, this is an elimination matchup between these two, so I know a lot of people are definitely excited for this one. Claudio Jenkins saying, I'm so hyped for this match. Bert, I did appreciate your new subscription. And already here saying, I think he's wrong. I believe Rich is the best player and deserves a world championship. I mean, I don't know. I will be at Worlds like I do every year as a commentator.
You know, that is true. Rich hasn't missed a single World Finals event.
That's true.
You know, if you want to talk about the goats of CR, Rich never missing a World Finals.
You know, I didn't make CCGS, but every CRO World Finals, I'm there.
Yeah, I mean, understandable. Everybody has an off year, you know, sometimes. So you can't make them all, but after that, Rich has been everywhere. So definitely somebody to watch for this year.
So Lava Miner Barbs, the call here from Hugo. I believe this is the same variant that I'm running, so we should expect some arrows here as the big spell. And with Sam running, wait, Sam's running 2.6?
Sam is running 2. I think he was watching the stream, Rich. There's just no other explanation.
Sam's running 2. Okay, chat. The deck you want to see, for some reason, the most popular deck in Clash Royale, you can make a video on high-level gameplay, but if you make a video of an hour of 2.6 ladder play, that will get 10 times the views. Here you go. This is the deck. Congratulations, everybody who wanted to see 2.6 be played in competitive. Let's see what Sam's got with it in this matchup.
Yeah, that is the question, because on paper, Hugo does not have a spell to get wipe that Musketeer off the board. Obviously, he does have that minor arrows. It's going to be interesting to see just how well he protects that Musketeer. And those big hound defenses. Yeah,
this is somewhat shocking. Cage not in cycle, so Hog gets down. And, man, the big thing here is, and you know, people are going to be really excited about it, the big thing here is, again, the arrows most likely being the spell for Hugo, which ain't going to do much in this matchup.
Yeah, we'll see once Hugo's able to get one of those big pushes down, which is going to be after this one, as long as that Musketeer doesn't shave too much HP off of that. Lava Hound doesn't look like it is the case. Musketeer is high, so probably going to get picked off by a miner. And that is the case. Cannon comes down to protect it. Great Fireball going to come down from Sam. There we go. Skeleton's Dragon not being able to get hit due to the radius of the Fireball. Musketeer goes down. Sam in trouble here.
Sam in a lot of trouble here. This is certainly a gutsy call in this one, and still in the lead, 1190 to 1717. I am really fascinated to see this one shake out, but of course, as this gets into double and then triple, it's going to get very, very difficult for Sam to maintain these defenses.
Yep, 100%. And that miner, very smart call to just ignore that Musketeer because he knew it was going to get protected. But now Sam has 2 of them. And I think he's going to be able to edge this one out due to just how well he's playing defense, cycling and protecting the Musketeers. But I think I saw it in the YouTube chat. Sam does have to win 2 best of 3s, unless I'm wrong, Rich.
This is the first round of lower bracket, right?
Yeah, but Hugo and and Lapo made it to the second round of the winner bracket.
They did. That's right.
So yeah, unless they switch something up, I think Sam and Bale have an uphill battle in these lower bracket.
Well, I mean, if you get the game 1 win playing 2.6, I guess I gotta wonder what the morale change becomes for your opponent. Hey, it's a Kmart 3 Musketeers here for OP Sam. And, wow, one does get taken off the board, but we talked about it before, the difficulty of getting Musketeers off. Certainly playing to Sam's favor, but again, triple elixir against Lava Hound. This is really, really rough for the German. Cannot get the Hog connection, And, man, 15 seconds left. Does he just spell cycle here and try to play some defense?
I think he will get another fireball, but he's got to protect this miner.
Log in. Miner comes down to the back. Ice Spirit to help. Fireball. Does it beat it out? Fireball! Oh, my word! By 2 HP! 2 HP! What are you talking about? 2 HP! And oh my word, the second slimmest margin by which an SK Gaming player has lost a match in competitive play. 2 HP? Are you kidding me?
SK does not like comfortable victories, and it leads to very uncomfortable losses. 2 HP. Everybody knows that 1 HP with Morton and Surge in the World Finals. Man, that was we called that Sam would get that second fireball, but that miner from Hugo just very well played. Skeletons weren't predictive of it. Didn't take any shots, and wow, gotta love those close finishes, Rich. And now Sam is one leg off the cliff right here.
One leg off the cliff and ran 2.6 in game number 1. Burned Log, Burned Fireball, 2 critical cards that fit into a lot of archetypes. And guys, that's about as well as Sam could have played that. And 2.6, fun to watch, fun to play, really popular. But man, come on, that's that one. Ben saying, speaking of 2 HP, did you comment on the Surgical Morton match? Well, Ben, I have commentated every single Clash Royale League match ever played in the West and for World Finals as well. So yes, I was there. In fact, you know,
you've made some YouTube shorts on it as well.
I've done some breakdowns of that game. You're absolutely right. So yeah, I was live there for that one. Super fun. And man, that was this one though. Not quite that close, but as close as you can get to a 1 HP game and not be a 1 HP game. 2.6, man.
2.6 is not viable, guys.
You heard it here. 2.6 we've been saying it for a long time. I know 2.6 is popular. I know Oyasu can beat a lot of people on ladder with 2.6, and it's a great free-to-play deck. It does not really make sense in competitive play. But man, that was a whole lot of fun to watch here.
It's fun to watch, but doesn't get the results that you really need.
Yeah, here we go. Game number 2. Sam back to the wall here, and Hugo got to be feeling pretty good now. Justin B saying props to Sam for entertaining us. Absolutely right. Next up on the Slayton bucket list says Yagit 3 HP. Yeah. The only thing that would make that work even better is if it's Javi or Sergio who gets 3 HP.
Let's see, Hog from Hugo, very aggressive for Sam here, getting damage on the tower, but he's just going to eat this entire Hog Rider.
Hunter does come out to clean up, and this is you talk about Hog variants that are viable, and Hugo with one of the more viable ones right now. And you look at the reasons why, right? You have much better defense for the Swarm that's so popular being played right now, especially Royal Hogs. You know, the cannon is kind of dead, right? Cannon just is not super useful in a ton of matchups. So, you know, you have a lot of good reasons, especially in dual mode in particular. And then, of course, Bomb Tower, certainly nice, especially having a bit of a resurgence right now. And interesting choice from Sam to go, like, totally... I'll say this, people are going to be like, it's not off meta. 2.6 is not meta. 2.6 was meta 4 years ago, 4 to 5 years ago. And then going very central with his meta choice here in game number 2 for Sam.
Yep, Sam definitely going towards his comfort in this one, and I mean, you can see why. Getting the tower almost down to half health was a minor wall breakers deck before Double Elixir against a matchup that is not all that well for Sam. It doesn't look like he's got a building, so Hugo could bring this one back if he plays well enough defense. But it is against one of the best minor wall breaker players in the game, and that Valk is not good. Just, yeah, should have held off on it. I see what he was going for with the prediction, but just didn't work out for him in the end, and they ate a bunch of Spear Goblin shots. Does have that Bomb Tower Sam, though, so does look like he'll be much more comfortable for the rest of this game.
And you know, you see the Hog placement there from Hugo, and just basically gave a free defense there to Sam, because he's able to throw the Bomb Tower way away from the Princess Tower. and make Hugo play the EQ way up high. So that was a good sequence for Sam there. Of course, EQ and Hog Rider damage now with the cycle for Hugo, so very close, 986 to 630.
Minor poison going to come down from Sam just based on the elixir count. Good Larry's to catch. I don't know where the poison is, Richard. Okay, so waits a little bit for the poison. This is Hugo's time to outcycle Sam's bomb tower. So we're going to see a Hog Rider EQ here. Good archers to take care of the hunter. Very, very nice decision from Hugo. Should just throw a Hog Rider here to try and get that bomb tower down and out. Miner going to come down, gets caught by the archers. And now Sam's going to try to outcycle that bomb tower and try to log the hunter, I would expect, to preserve that hog HP. Preemptive hunter from Sam, and now he's got the bomb tower back in cycle. So, oh, I guess not.
Oh, no.
Hunter
Hog
turns
gets
around.
one hit, 404 on the right-hand side to 398, minute 34 left as the poison comes down on the pre-archers. Oh, no.
The downfall of Hugo this game was all the predicts that he tried to throw. The Valk in that one, the archers here just ended up costing him. If he threw an EQ, well, let me just. Did he have it in cycle or did he use it during the hog attack against the hunter?
I think he used it during the hog attack. I think he might have just clean cycled or naked cycled it on that one. But man, that was a really, again, a couple rough predictions out of Hugo and Sam able to take advantage. So that's a big win there for Sam. Justin B in the chat saying, I've been only playing CR for a year, however, I've gotten more interested in it, therefore I haven't watched too many competitive CR play. What are some common elixir cost decks? It's less about elixir cost and just about what's effective. So there are some that are very quick cycle, some that are heavier cycle. If you're looking to search out decks, Justin B, there are tons of YouTubers who break down decks, and especially if you're newer, I could recommend Cashman as a great YouTuber for someone who's a newer player to look at decks that are viable for all different arenas. If you're looking for decks that are more that are being more played for maxed out accounts, CWA, of course, makes great videos for all that sort of stuff. Morton's making a lot of great content in both English and German. B-Rad. There's a lot of great YouTubers out there, but especially if you're a newer player, Cashman's a great guy to recommend, and who just hit 100,000 subs on his YouTube channel fairly recently. So that's Cashman with a K, K-A-S-H-M-A-N. If you look up Cashman Clash Royale, you'll find a good one. But, of course, all those guys. There's a ton of great Clash Royale YouTubers. OJ makes some great technique videos that are out there. So a lot of fun stuff for you guys to see. But for here, my YouTube channel, primarily what you'll see here is, of course, competitive Clash Royale events like this one, replays of some good BO3s that I select from all over the place, that I give some commentary on, some technique videos, and then some specific deck breakdowns, inviting different pros on to give you 3 or 4 or 5 guidelines for how to master a certain deck. So that's sort of the stuff that happens here. But, the lucky thing about Clash Royale is whatever you're into, whatever you're looking for, there's a content creator who does that. So you can go ahead and support every different kind of content creator. And, of course, talking about supporting content creators, you can either do this with me or with somebody else. But a lot of us do have these really cool codes. My code is code RICH. You can go ahead and use that in the Supercell shop for whatever game you're talking about, whether it's Clash Royale, Clash of Clans, Brawl Stars, and that helps us out a little bit too. So if you use my code, great. Otherwise, a lot of content creators have some codes as well. So lots of opportunities to find great advice and great videos and get some support as well. And of course, if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel right here. And here we go. Game number 3. It's going to be Bait with Prince up against Mega Knight, most likely Royal Hogs from Hugo.
Yeah, but it looks like all the things that we expect from Sam in a best of 3 are coming out in this best of 3, where his back is against the wall. Bait with Royal Ghost, can't tell you for sure if he's rocking it with Rocket or not, because as we saw in his last best of 3 against Lapo, he did use it with just Goblin Gang and Snowball without a rocket. But Hugo coming out with either the Royal Hogs or just a spam. Looks like it is going to be the Royal Hogs. Bar Barrel, good catch on the barrel behind the tower. Let's just see how this one plays out. I think this is going to be OP Sam's time to shine in time to 1 elixir. Because in double, Hugo's just going to be really able to overwhelm.
Mega Knight to the right-hand side, Prince in response.
flying machine. That flying machine is going to be. I don't see any response from Sam directly to it. With the cards that he's shown, maybe we'll see something here. Those zappies were also late on the ghost. I don't think there was enough elixir. Goblin Cage from Sam, so he does have structure to deal with those Royal Hogs, which does improve his defense a little bit. But now time's running out for Sam to really make more of a dent on Hugo's towers. And now, yeah, so we're not going to be seeing a rocket. We are going to be seeing heavy defense from Sam, though. And let's see how he deals with the Mother Witch and all the troop spam behind the Mega Knight here.
Cage down early for OP Sam as Hugo cycles the Mother Witch to the right-hand side. Sam is a CRL Western champion and two-time CRL World finalist with SK Gaming. Hugo, of course, his top performances are winner of Game Stars, which just wrapped up. The first round of Game Stars was this spring and summer, and Hugo did come out on top of that. And then, of course, two number 2 finishes with France in international competition. But right here, it's Hugo with the advantage in terms of having the extra life to give. And Sam right now, though, is the one controlling this final Game 3 to see if he can make them force a run back. Going to be hard, though, with the stack happening on the right-hand side. Flying Machine, but look at that Royal Ghost on the left-hand lane. The Ghost has been creating fits so far for Hugo.
Ghost definitely providing problems for Hugo due to the fact that he doesn't have anything cheap, such as an Ice Golem or skeletons or anything really cheap to just get an even elixir trade on that Royal Ghost. And due to it being invisible, just provides a big problem for Hugo to deal with. Mega Knight on the side of on the weak tower, and he's given up his Mother Witch before in his first big attack, which the Ghost got too much splash damage on that Mother Witch and down to a Princess, and 2 Royal Ghost hits that hit both the Mega Knight and the Mother Witch. And looks like Sam's just got the defense down here, although Hugo does have a bunch of damage on that right-hand lane.
Fireball
defense.
Yeah. That's all. That always tells me that something about your cycle got a little bit messed up there and saved the damage, but certainly not where you want that fireball to go. And you can see Sam now stacking up with a lot here. Royal goes to the left-hand lane one more time as the Flying Machine pressures on the right-hand side, courtesy of Hugo. Prince not going to be the response to the Mega Knight through in this cycle, though.
Yep, Prince not going to go towards the Mega Knight. I think Royal Hog should come down once Hugo gets to 5 elixir on this right-hand lane. There we go. A lot to deal with for Sam. Good snowball. Let's see if he's got the cage again to stop them. Yes, he does. Rascals on the left side, defended by the Zappies. And 30 seconds, Rich. It looks like Sam is going to be able to take it, although a fireball will edge up damage if Sam doesn't get any more damage on that left side.
Sam goes short with the Goblins and doesn't get the damage on tower. 2022. So Fireball certainly a problem right here for Sam. Going to have to go ahead. I don't even think Snowball won't make enough room for him to win the matchup. Fireball comes in for Hugo, and Sam on the right-hand side, the Dark Goblin sneaks through, and Sam takes the razor-thin win at 5 HP. What is going on here today? Wow, there is something in the water, something in the app, because these two guys are playing what that might be just HP for HB, the most razor-thin matchup we've seen between two players.
We've seen a 2 HP win and a 5 HP win in a best of 3. These guys are so evenly matched. Wow.
Yeah. That's a full-on wow on that one. Wow, 2 HP game number 1, 5 HP game number 3. Hans calling that one payback time. And this is nuts. That was absolutely nuts. The Dark Goblin, that was game over. That was game over. There was the Snowball wouldn't do enough to win to beat out the Fireball. The Dark Goblin, I wish we had replay here. That Dark Goblin just snuck right on through to go ahead and take that win. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
Yep, we were also focused on that Snowball not edging out that Fireball, that we failed to consider that right-hand assault that Sam just built up from the counter push. And I mean, Dart Goblin just shooting those darts like every 0.7 seconds really accumulates in a short amount of time, and he heads that one out. I don't even think. I think he was surprised to see that one go his way. Wow.
Yeah, that was Pranav saying someone give the Dart Goblin a hike in its salary and a raise. Yeah, that was Dart Goblin OP. LaPoKaTi had to jump out of my chair twice in one set. Yeah, that was absolutely nuts. Had to win by 5 HP to assert dominance. And yeah, someone talking about Sir Tag there earlier. Another great content creator as well. Yeah, wish we had replay here. A lot of people wish we had replay to break that one down. Gotta love that win there in the extra time. Just watching, just like us. Never saw the right side. I was just looking left. Yeah, we were all kind of stuck on that. We were stuck like on that left-hand side. Again, it felt like it was all sewn up here, but that Dart Goblin slid on through. Now, to remind everybody, because of the way a 6-person double elimination bracket is built, as Hugo had moved on to the second round in the winners bracket, and Sam lost in the first round, Hugo had the winner's advantage, meaning he had still had an extra life to give in this matchup. So Sam just won the right to run it back. So now we have a BO3 between Sam and Hugo that decides who goes on. So Sam pulled out a crazy win and has to go ahead and win again here in a run back BO3 between these two. Man, what a crazy one. We'll see if they get us the bracket here to look at so you can see that one more time. But my word, that was nutty.
Yeah, definitely one of I think the closest best of 3 we've seen today. So,
I mean, that may be one of the closest best of 3s ever. I mean, a total of 7 HP deciding 2 of the 3 games. I don't know if I've ever seen a closer best of 3 overall HP wise.
I don't think I have either. That was really something, man. Wow. I'll be right back in like
cool.
1 minute.
All right, gonna go ahead and answer some questions in the chat here while we're waiting for Minnie to come back. AB Chronic saying, POV, you're a pair of sunglasses on the sunglasses rack. Jealousy for spending all the attention. Oh yeah, I guess it's a rough go for those pairs. Nilab saying, has the card balancing reached its perfect balance? I am against perfect balance. I think the balance should be changed consistently to keep the meta fresh and changing. If you have the exact same balance for cards and you go, this is now locked, then it's the game becomes stale, as we saw when we actually at one point in 2020, I think it was, had perfect balance for a while and ended up changing as time went on. So we'll see. Co-caster is Mini Minter right there. Mini Minter. Number 16 in the world on the CRL standings. When is Ruben versus Mo? In a few matches, but we'll be seeing that, of course. Just got here. Has Mo Light played? He's already played once. We'll see him play again fairly soon. How is Baby Slayton going? He's Slayton Jr. now. He's 3 years old, so he's doing great. And here, let's go ahead into the run it back. Run it back. Hugo and Sam one more time. Can they make it any more exciting than they did the first time around? Well, only one way to find out, and that's to watch it happen.
Yep, Hugo does look to be repeating that hog delivery deck. And Sam going with Recruits Minor, so we'll probably have the Hunter, possibly a Cannon Cart. Yep, there's a Cannon Cart for support. Maybe a Knight or Falcon there as well. And honestly, I think this is Hugo's match. But we'll see how Sam plays his patented minor wall breakers.
Sim asking, you mentioned a CRL higher play for Team China. What's the name of the event? He's played for Team China in a number of events, including No Tilt Worlds. So there is the answer to that question. Who won the first BO3? It was Sam who won the first BO3 Frio because Sam had to win 2 BO3s. That was the advantage that Hugo had based on first round results. So now it's all even, though. Winner of this BO3 does move on. Loser is eliminated. But again, if you guys saw the bracket, Hugo had a bracket advantage, which gave him the he only had to win 1 best of 3. Sam has to win 2. So we are now going to, Sam has already won his first one. This one will decide the matchup.
And Cannon Cart coming down from Sam. We'll probably have to try to play this without recruits until defending the next hog attack, because he can get punished if he throws those recruits down without having proper defense for the hog rider. Throwing recruits in the middle to prevent a hog attack, but Valk will take most of them down. EQ takes the shield off, and Sam in the lead though with the damage, so good log for the Hunter. Hug gets a shot.
And I think you're a half step ahead here, Minnie, as I reach 42, 41, 40 seconds just now. Miner goes to the back, gets picked up by Skeletons. Spear gets controlled by the Royal Delivery with 33, 32, 31, 30 seconds remaining. So Minnie and I.
All right, I think we're synced up. 28, 27.
There we go. Pretty nicely synced up, and spell cycle both directions here as the EQ goes on one side, poison the other. Very close one more time, 1602 to 1514. And these guys staying razor thin the whole way through. We'll see if we have fireworks in the finish one more time, or if someone's able to get a decisive victory in this one.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about evenly matched people. They're consistently throughout the entire 5 minutes of the game. Very even and consistent throughout their HP. That cannon card needs to be picked up. There we go. Valkyrie to pick it up because it did get pushed towards the outside because of the Hunter, I believe. And now I love how Hugo's playing his archers offensively just to clean up whatever defense and counterpush potential Sam has before he can actually capitalize on them. So EQ and log cycle coming down from Hugo when he can't get a hog rider connection. Good delivery and about to clean up. And now we're about to get to triple elixir, which good log on the wall breakers to get both tower damage and clean them up. And Sam's gonna have to play some great defense to pull this one off without receiving hog hits.
So this is an interesting question for you, and you are going to see, oh, the hog does not get through on that one, so that's a big one. Hugo's playing the hog rider not in the quote-unquote hog spot quite often. He's playing to the middle a bunch. And is that in this matchup? Oh, wall breakers connect.
Wow.
The bomb tower late, and Hugo with a bit of a misplay there. Sam just stealing that one before we even get late in the game.
Yep, that's the second time that Hugo's lost to wall breakers because to the same deck due to predicting. He wasted one of the Strondalaries, which got poisoned out and then taken out by the miner. He wasted a delivery on, I think, the cannon cart, and then the wall breakers just had a free path towards the tower. And your question was about Hugo's hog placements. He played. I agree that in the first game when Sam had a bomb tower for that hog, they should have all been against the chain. But I mean,
in this one with no building, there's more. You can use it for some defensive control.
Yeah, especially to kite / distract that cannon cart. But I mean, there wasn't anything that like went towards the hog, such as like a bandit or like a mini P.E.K.K.A that was useful for that hog in the middle. So, I mean, maybe just lack of hog placements for Hugo or trying something that just didn't really work out in the end. But yeah, we've seen that's the second time that Sam just outplayed Hugo in a wall breakers hog match.
Yeah, and did it very, very well. And I think we're trying to see, I think someone's posting one of the clips in chat. And you know what? I wonder if I can use, that actually might be a good way to try this out. I might see if I can use clips here to go ahead and actually get my hands on some of those replays. So maybe we can get. Let me go ahead and see if I can find. Let's look up for. This is not what I'm looking for. Oh well, I'll try to find it in a minute here. Oh, clips. Yeah, we'll see if maybe during the break between this next match, as we go for the reset, if I can find some clips, we can actually look at the replay on some of these ones. I'll go ahead and do my best to go ahead and pull some of those. And maybe we'll get a look at those. But here we go into game number 2. So OP Sam needed to go get two full BO3s and got the first one. Now he's 1 win away from staying alive and moving on in this regional championship.
Yep, and Sam has some affinity towards the Rascals. We don't see them very much, but I think this is the third time that we've seen them from Sam today. So both players have Fireball available. Sam looks like he could be using some Royal Hogs. Hugo using this Goblin Barrel, what's it called? Should be Goblin Barrel Wall Breakers, but yeah, there we go. Interested to see if he'll have a big spell or not. That Mother Witch is very interesting. We don't see Mother Witch in decks like these very often.
Yeah, that is a really strange Mother Witch choice. I'm wondering if he was looking at what Sam played in game number 1. And, I mean, what could have you been putting him on, right? Like, you don't expect... I guess there's Poison Fireball decks But even then, now the Mother Witch for the Fireball. Bandit does get one little smack on tower on the right-hand side. I mean, if you're trying to figure out what Hugo was expecting, what do you think explains the Mother Witch being here?
It's definitely gonna be some sort of graveyard snipe. But even then, with this type of deck, I mean, he's got E-Barbs. This is just a really awkward deck from Hugo.
So Fireball certainly a problem right here for Sam.
I don't see him. I mean, I don't know. In Double Elixir, this deck could get very overwhelming to deal with. But Hugo, I mean, Sam has 2 spawners, and if he just puts those in the back, he's gonna be cruising and smooth sailing for the majority of this game.
All right, guys. I think I might be able to get some of those replays up for us once we get to the break. So we'll see if those do work. For now, we're gonna stick here and keep our focus on this best of 3 game number 2. And what an interesting. I've been very iffy on spawner decks overall in competitive play. I mean, I think that it's hard pressed to find a lot of people who love spawner decks other than the people who play them. And even them, I question whether or not they love spawner decks. Thoughts on the choice in competitive play to go with the Furnace Goblin Hut combo?
Well, Hugo, this is in part very smart from Sam because Hugo has this huge Hog Hue, which is one of the main counters to this double HUD spam from Sam. So if you look at it from that point of view, it is a smart choice because he's not risking himself from getting hard countered in theory. Hugo playing this very well, by the way, with great split pushes and just getting good value out of that Mother Witch. But I personally wouldn't consider using double spawners unless this specific thing where they waste Hog Hue or certain hard counters towards it. Mostly because there's just not much outplay material or much outplay potential. Hugo gonna look for a King Tower activation here, maybe pulls it off. Very good plays from Hugo, keeping himself alive, and well, he could edge this one out if he keeps playing like this. And as soon as I say that, the flying machine just goes to town.
And that's what happens when you have no really great counter for that flying machine. One of the most abused cards in dual mode. You pretty much see it get played in almost every BO3 for that reason. And 443 on the right-hand side, and a Fire Spirit in on the right-hand side as well. So things going from bad to worse right now for Hugo as he goes E-Barbs on the right-hand side with the wall breakers behind, trying to find a way past this Furnace, but cannot break through to the second level. Gob Barrel goes to the left-hand lane here with 30 seconds left. Triple Elixir in, but that's a big connection. Snowball. Huge connection from the Goblin Barrel. 494 on the left-hand lane, 245 on the right-hand lane. Sam and Hugo looking to make things exciting one more time. The high Furnace, and right now it's Sam trying to go for the big overwhelm on the left-hand side as the, wow, that should be it. GG, well played. Hugo nearly stole that one back, but OP Sam with an OP performance, and he had to win 2 BO3s in a row against Hugo in order to win this overall matchup due to the 6-person double elimination bracket format. He came out and did the hard work, got it done, and will move on, staying alive here in the QUESO Cup EMEA playoffs.
Yeah, very well played and very smart choices, very smart deck picks from Sam. Now we look at this updated bracket. It's going to be Bale versus Lapo in this one, and Bale has to win twice. Not looking good for our beloved Spaniard. But I know that Bale could definitely pull out some good matchups. I know that he is working with an analyst. And we'll see if he can push Lapo like Sam pushed Hugo.
Yeah, and that is that same situation, is that if you see from the upper bracket, Bale, Miguelito lost in the first round to go into the lower bracket. Hugo made it to the second round, and because of, again, the way that 6-person double elimination brackets work, just like Sam had to beat Hugo twice, Bale, Miguelito has to beat Lapo twice. So we'll see if he can do it. And let's go and take a look. I think I have some replays available here for those 2 great games. Let me go ahead and mute this video So this was the 2.6 hog cycle game, the final few seconds, and you can see here that it's the fireball getting in, but the miner and not even the arrows, it's the miner beats out the fireball. I'll take that back one more time for you guys to watch that last moment. So here we go. The miner gets picked up by the spear, by the high spear, and that's what it was. xopxsam did not get the skeletons down in time by just a half step here. Ice Spirit goes to the miner, but the skeletons, let me go back one more moment here. Ice Spirit turns around, goes back to the miner, but Skelly's a half step late because Sam was busy throwing the fireball, and because of that, the miner gets 2 shots, and that's the 2 HP difference in that one. And as we go into our next one, and that's going to be the, I think this is the end of that 5 HP matchup. And here you go. This was the 5 HP revenge on the part of xopxsam. The snowball comes in, but check out that Dart Goblin on the right-hand side. I'll take that back for you one more time. As you can see, the Dart Goblin, keep an eye on the Dart Goblin on the right-hand lane behind the Prince. The Dart Goblin, it's the E-Barbs get taken off the board. I think Hugo maybe thought the E-Barbs were sufficient, but the protection from everything on that Dart Goblin, and it goes just fast enough to get that 5 HP victory. So 2 big-time moments there for xopxsam to get that win, and that's why he's able to go on the 2 HP loss, the 5 HP win. And now we go to our other part of the bracket. It's Miguelito up against LaPoKaTi. And again, Bale/Miguelito does have to win twice here in order to move on, just like xopxsam had to last time.
These first 3 cards from Bale really give me not very what's it called? Good flashbacks to a few metas ago. But with that Firecracker, I do think it's gonna be Hog from Bale. Yep, there we go. And Ram Rider, so it's gonna be P.E.K.K.A or Mega Knight. Ram Rider come down from Lapo. Definitely something different from our Belarusian. But if Bale can play his cards right, that poison is not going to be all that too efficient in taking out that Firecracker. And he can also cycle it twice in one defense. So I definitely think Bale has at least a 60-40 matchup here. But this all comes down to if Lapo has a Mother Witch, how well he uses it, and just how well he plays his poisons and like makes his big pushes. And that is that is so unfortunate. I'm sorry. That is so unfortunate. Prediction Mother Witch just canceled out by the bandit that did its job way too well. Wow.
And a nice sequence here to open things up. And again, I'm putting this up here. People are confused about how this bracket is working. In a 8-person double elimination bracket, it's pretty simple to follow, and that's what we do in CRL. Here in this version, it's a 6-person double elimination bracket. So the question is, how do you give an advantage to somebody if you lose in round 1 of the winners of the normal bracket? How does that differ from losing in round 2? Because a round 1 loser and a round 2 loser end up facing in the elimination bracket. So the extra match to give is the advantage that is given to give you the a value for having won in round 1. And so next time we look at the bracket, I'll break down the explanation a little bit more, but the double win versus double loss in the first round of the elimination bracket of the lower or losers bracket is a feature of a 6-person double elimination bracket as opposed to an 8-person double elim bracket. And again, we'll go over it later when we see the bracket, but for now, let's go ahead and focus on the game in front of us. And you can see Mega Knight getting deep in enemy territory and Lapo just pressuring with the Royal Ghost to the right-hand side.
Yep, Bale maintaining some good defense throughout this trip to double elixir. Lapo's going to do everything that he can to try to break through. But honestly, if Bale plays it as like perfectly, which with Hog Cycle and players that do have CRL experience is not that far-fetched of an idea. That Valkyrie though could I don't understand why it was so high. Kind of just fed that Inferno Dragon, but just Bale has so much so much more room for error in this matchup than Lapo does.
Hog Rider to the left-hand side and Ram Rider to slow all of that down.
Yep, Lapo always keeping his Ram Rider in cycle for the Hog Rider just so he can get a decent counter push off of it. Being very smart about that. Bale at this point just needs to start cycling his Teslas and EQs like there's no tomorrow. There we go, good EQ there. Even better Bandit predicting an EQ towards the inside from Bale. And without Snowball, it becomes that much worse for Lapo because there's no way that he can get like a prediction Snowball on some Larrys to get a Bandit to connect. He just really has to break through, which is so difficult because once again, cycled Firecrackers and Valkyries on top of the Mega Knight and Mother Witch just make it really difficult.
And to clarify here, those of you who might not know the slang that Mini Minter is using when he says Larrys, he means skeletons. Because there's a Larry. All the skeletons in the skeleton army are named, and Larry's one of those names. So just so everyone understands, in case you were curious what a Larry is. And Ram Rider does touch on the left-hand side and going to get a connection on the right-hand side as well for Lapo.
Yep, Lapo really pushing Miguelito to the edge of that Mother, which is dangerous. Hog Rider, oh my god, trying to defend whatever it's going to get. He can pull this out if he cycles 2 EQs and defends this push well enough with a Tesla. That Bandit's going to be very problematic. He's got to get a Hog Rider down now. If he does, he can get a hit because he's got a Mega Knight. Won't be able to throw out anything else before. That will get a hit if not hit by anything else. Wow, doesn't get a hit. Let's see if Lapo's got that poison. And that's going to be game.
Does poison beat the log? Oh, and neither touches. Doesn't matter. 1284. Wow. And 20 HP. The difference here. This is just, everyone here is making things as tight and sweaty as possible. Lapo getting the game #1 win. And, there's so many days where that would have been the closest game of the day. But obviously today is not that one.
Yep, for sure. Lapo played that really, really well, as I mentioned, always keeping the Ram Rider for the Hog Rider. And that last Hog not getting hit was very unfortunate for Bale. But props to Lapo for pressuring Bale to having to defend with a Hog Rider and having to spend an EQ on defense too. As I mentioned, when he threw that EQ on defense, if he could have spared that EQ on the tower, it would have edged him the game. But then you have to consider if he would have been able to defend what was coming on him. So very, very good game from these two, and Bale 1 game away from dropping out of the competition.
Yep, and one of the things, just to clarify here, people watching, Lopkins is LaPoKaTi's mini that he made for 2021, and Miguelito is Bale's mini that he made for 2021. So it is LaPoKaTi versus Bale is the same thing as Lopkins versus Miguelito. For those of you in the chat who are going, hey, what the heck's going on here? It's Sanywell with a great comment, feeling like every game is rigged today to make it more exciting. And yeah, I mean, look, as a caster, I can't say thank you enough to the players for making these ones so tight, because it has been really, really crazy so far. Ben asking, is the QUESO Cup part of the CRL Worlds? No, this is a different tournament entirely. CRL Worlds, the only things that apply for Clash Royale League are making top 1,000 on ladder, and then the top 1,000 going to the Swiss bracket, going to the top 32, going to the monthly qualifiers, and then, of course, we've done 8 rounds of that, and then we have the last chance qualifier at the end of October. That's all CRL. This is not CRL. There's a lot of the same players, a lot of the same competitors, but this is a separate cup with mostly invited players and some players who qualified. So we do lots of these ones. If you ever see the QUESO Cup, the Bren Chong Cup, the CWA Cup, we used to have we had the Moreno Cup, the Cabrera Cup in the past. All these cups, these are separate events from Clash Royale League, but a great part of what you might call the Clash Royale. They're like separate tour events, which are pretty fun for CRL pros. But of course, a lot of money on the line on this one as well. I believe it's $32,000, the prize pool for this event overall, which is absolutely massive. And speaking of massive here, LaPoKaTi with a win in this game would send Miguelito Bale home if he can get it done right now.
Yep. Quick question, Rich. Are you casting tomorrow's finals or not?
Tomorrow I am casting Latin America, the LATAM region, and then Cashman is casting NA in the afternoon, evening.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Yeehaw.
Which means I'll be playing tomorrow, not casting tomorrow.
Yep. I'll have to find someone else to fill in with some OP commentary.
Yeah, we'll have to see. What's it called? You know, I feel like we're missing some player cams here, Rich.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the challenges of remote production. Sometimes you have a lot of team and budget to make sure everyone's canned up. Sometimes you don't.
Okay, so Bale is coming out with Pekaloon. I actually just saw this tweet from Bill's analyst. Yeah, Bale rocking Pekaloon. But Lapo is getting that king activation with the ice golem against that E-Dragon. Good tornado to pick up the musketeer. Looks like those spear goblins will die to that baby dragon, and Bale with a comfortable elixir lead here. Great ice golem, which is gonna, yeah, that ice golem just, I don't think Bale was expecting that, and that's gonna lead to 2 connections from the mortar, I believe, and yep, there we go, and an even elixir for these guys.
So you got to love seeing Lapo run Mortar, one of the all-time classic Mortar players. You kind of almost forget about it to a certain degree with how long he's come from being one of the many young Mortar one-tricks to come out of his region. But Igor, LaPoKaTi, you can talk about other guys from that region like Legolas and Dreaming Fly as well. A lot of talented Mortar players from that region.
Yep, and Bale was definitely expecting those E-Barbs. That's why he packed good, because he had that Dark Prince in cycle. So we'll see just how well, like, this is what he wanted out of that interaction. So let's see how this plays off in this attack. Doesn't look like it's going to get far. See if we can get a NATO for that Musketeer. Nope, even. Either way, that was a great miner to predict anything from going wrong there. And Bale up elixir. Lapo up in damage.
And a good minor connection there on the left-hand side. Dark Prince in response to the Spear Goblins. Final 10 seconds. Sudden Death overtime on its way. And things pretty even here so far. Give me your thoughts on who gets the advantage as we go deeper into double and triple.
Yep, and good stuff there from Lapo. You see a miner coming down just to tank for that Baby Dragon. And then a mortar as well, just to reassure that if Bale was to go really aggressive and drop a tornado to take that miner behind the tower, the mortar was there to pick up that baby dragon regardless. So Lapo very focused and dialed in on this match, ready for just about anything that Bale can throw at him. And Bale just saving his freeze. Doesn't look like he's ever going to get a connection to tower. That was definitely a moment to throw the freeze. Not sure why he didn't go with it. Maybe he was worried about a fireball or something and just wasting that amount of elixir. But here he's got a bomber and Dark Prince cleaning that up very well. A good NATO would have been good there. Bale just needs to start finding a way to get damage without the balloon, because it's definitely not working out for him. But Lapo, as I mentioned about a minute ago, is on top of that, so this is going to be very interesting to watch.
Here we go with the high mortar here, and this one does get a connection. Not a connection that Bale can really afford to give right now, although it will only take one balloon shot to change all the chemistry of this one as we go into the final 50 seconds. Triple elixir. It is Lapo with the lead and good damage on both sides as he keeps pressuring the opposite lane with another minor E-Barbs push.
Yep, always keeping that Dark Prince in cycle when he peckers for those E-Barbs. And now he's got another peck, I believe. That's a good NATO. Maybe he can peck the right lane and try and cause some problems, stir things up. Looks like it's not going to be the case. E-Dragon's trying to overwhelm here. He's going to need to take care of the Musketeer whenever it comes down. Maybe a good freeze on it. Looks like he opts to go for those mortar and balloon. Balloon doesn't pick up. Balloon doesn't get distracted by the mortar. It gets death damage. And now is the last 10 seconds. It doesn't look like he's going to... Oh, wait. Did I get death damage? No. Definitely too far away. And that freeze... Wait.
Oh,
no.
Baby Dragon can't stay alive long enough, and LaPoKaTi will get it done here in 2, and he had the advantage, so that is GG, well played. Bale exits the tournament here after the first 2 rounds, and Lapo will move on to the next round of the lower bracket final. GG, well played for Lapo.
GG, well played indeed. Lapo's very dialed in. Obviously, losing to Ruben can happen to anyone, but Lapo's showing that he definitely deserves to be here in this stage and fighting for top 3 so he can get to Worlds.
FLG Rise says, Anjazur, yeah, there we go. Fake Lapo gang in the building. And that was a really fun one. And this is interesting. We're going to have a rematch of Lapo versus Sam, says Latak. Remember, we're down to our top 4 now, and everything is clean and even. So, here's what's, we're going to see the bracket in a moment, but Lapo versus Sam are going to play what is both an elimination match and a qualifying match, because the top 3 from this event do go on to World Finals. Of course, there is both placement and prize pool on the line when you decide that top 3 from these regional playoffs. So that's going to be very important. You know, you don't just want to make the top 3, you want to win that top 3, but either way, this next one is going to be the big one between those two. I believe we're going to go to the upper bracket now, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll find out if we're going to the upper bracket next, but let's take a look at the bracket as it currently stands. So our upper bracket finalists will be Mohamed Light and Ruben. Both have already guaranteed themselves a spot in the top 3 and a trip to the QUESO Cup World or International Finals. Lapo versus Sam are going to play a best of 3. Winner moves on and will face the loser of Mohamed Light and Ruben. So no matter what, this top 4 is absolutely OP. LaPoKaTi, OP Sam, Mohamed Light, and Ruben. That's what you love to see from a European final. I actually don't know. Let me go see if I can figure out which one is up next. I think we are going to have... I think we're actually going to have the...
Let's see.
Lower bracket part 2. So we're going to give some time to reset, and I believe it's going to be Sam versus Lapo. Let me go ahead and confirm that with the League Ops right now.
Yeah, pretty sure that it is going to be Sam and Lapo from the schedule that I have here. So yeah, this would define our top 3, Reg.
Yeah, this certainly would. Okay, I'm just confirming that one right now with League Ops just to be sure, so we get the correct prediction with channel points in here. I think that that might be going on. But for whether you're watching here on YouTube or watching on Twitch, go with us in the chat right now. Between Lapo and Sam, who do you got? Do you have the Mortar Master, who is playing some really great gameplay? We just saw against Miguelito, who seems to be... He limped his way into this top 6, but playing nicely now. Or is it OP Sam, who gave us the most razor-thin, and I'll go ahead and play those again, the most razor-thin finishes so far of the tournament? Does that luck continue for the German here up against LaPoKaTi? And as people are making their guesses, their picks here in the chat, I'll throw that one to you here first, Minnie. In this matchup between Lapo and Sam, who are you feeling the mojo for right now?
Based on gameplay and deck picks, I'm gonna have to go with Lapo. Sam has had great gameplay and some great deck picks as well, but I think the lack of an analyst for Sam, or at least I don't think he has an analyst, could be a possibility. That maybe George or some close friend could be helping him out with deck picks, but I'm gonna have to lean with Lapo just because of gameplay, how dialed in he is, and deck picks as well.
Lapo is certainly quite dialed in at the moment, and as was mentioned earlier, my co-caster Mini Minter is playing tomorrow in the LATAM finals for the QUESO Cup. So will not be joining me on stream tomorrow, but we will be seeing him, of course, as we're watching his matchups. And I'm going to go ahead and throw his Twitter in the chat right now if you're enjoying Mini Minter's commentary. And it seems like from what the chat's saying, people really are. There is Mini Minter's Twitter link, so you can go ahead and follow him and keep up with all that Mini's doing in competitive Clash Royale. So good luck to you tomorrow. Talking about analysts and who's doing what, obviously Julesy is the analyst for Mohamed Light. Ruben is working with Team QUESO. Any thoughts on any word on who Sam or Lapo are, or I don't know if they are both working with an analyst, or if they are, who they're working with?
Lapo's working with Winwoo.
Okay.
I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, I know Winwoo.
Yeah. All right. So Winwoo's Lapo, and Sam. I know that Sam is friends with Air Surfer and Wings, and I know that Air Surfer receives help from either Razor and George, so maybe one of those two guys are helping Sam. So yeah.
So who knows there? Brandon in the chat asking a question for Minnie. Do you ever get nervous, and how do you deal with your nerves?
I don't really get nervous lately, mostly because I'm used to playing so much, and I mean, yeah, it just gets habitual to deal with the routine of Clash Royale games. But dealing with nerves, it's definitely difficult. I feel like I can share this now, but during like the first couple of months, like in the first rounds of that long 11-round Swiss brackets, like during the first 3 rounds, there were points where I was just shaking. Either when I was like down 0-1 in the best of 3, and that doesn't really happen with me. But I feel like being the start of the season and there being so much pressure to like start off well and then consistently perform, to do that just kind of really gets to you. But usually I just drink my water in between games. Sometimes during games really helps me calm down. Music is one of the best things also because it just gets you in a really dialed mode. And yeah, that's pretty much my like Rich drinking water right now.
Yep. Gotta stay hydrated, especially in the caster's booth. We are here for quite a while. Jawar asking a question. Minnie, who do you think is the best CRL player overall in history?
CRL player overall. I still feel like Surge's dominance in CRL. I think Surge had 2 good CRLs as opposed to Ruben's. I mean, Ruben had that 2019 one, and that obviously dominant 2020. Mo had a great year last year and this year, but it's just difficult to call right now because Mo and Ruben have tied up, if not surpassed, what Surge set the bar for. And I feel like Mo is definitely gonna end up surpassing it just because of his age, and he's not going away anytime soon, and just how much dedication and how much he enjoys this game. So I'll just go with Momo, man. I'll go with Momo.
Certainly having a good one this year, and of course adding a CRO World Championship would be absolutely massive. Justin B asking what time is Miquelito to play tomorrow? Pacific time. Tomorrow's stream for LATAM will begin at 10:30 a.m. Pacific. That's 1:30 p.m. Eastern, and whatever time that is elsewhere, figure it out. But it will, of course, be hosted inside of the Clash Royale app, so you'll be able to go ahead and find it there. But yes, tune in at 10:30 in the morning Pacific, 1:30 Eastern tomorrow for the LATAM Championship. And, of course, we'll see how far Mini goes, and good luck to you there as well. But right now we are in an elimination matchup, xopxsam and LaPoKaTi. Loser is out of the competition. Winner will qualify for a World Championship QUESO Cup spot next weekend.
Yep, and Lapo coming out with that Mortar Graveyard. Sam starting off more just testing the waters and seeing what Lapo runs in the first game was P.E.K.K.A. Pigs, which is not the most meta / expected things that you would see out of Sam or just any player in this meta with P.E.K.K.A. Pigs. Especially with Night Witch, feels like a hybrid of P.E.K.K.A. Ramrider, but with Piggies. Honestly, if you look at it, the addition of Cage and Piggies, it's just a swap out of 2 to 3 cards there. But Lapo here definitely has a good matchup, I feel, because the defensive mortar, obviously Lapo knows how to play those better than anyone. But defensive mortars plays 12 will draw basically all the Piggies, Valk for the Piggies. Cannon card is a great tool, especially against Mother Witch, because once it gets killed, if it gets killed, it doesn't spawn any of those piglets. So definitely giving Lapo the matchup advantage on this one. Just see how he plays it out. Doesn't pull that Goblin Brawler though, and each one unnecessary hit there.
And Ashwin Ram asking, does anyone have to win 2 sets here? No, that will not happen again until the grand final, because the whoever wins out in the winner's bracket between Mohamed Light and Ruben will still have a loss to give, and then whoever comes back will have to beat them twice. But for now, no, this is a straight-up best of 3. Whoever wins 2 games here qualifies and moves on. So no fancy stuff here other than the gameplay as we go into sudden death overtime. And again, Sam with the dual lane lead as Lapo mortars up on the left-hand side.
Yep, and it feels like Lapo was really looking to go in there with that graveyard push, but once he saw that Mother Witch come down, and that the Zappies and Goblin Brawler combo on the left, he realized that he wouldn't have had enough Elixir to defend that on the left. So he had to hold off until this push. Let's see when the Mother Witch comes down. Fireball going to come down insanely quick to take that out. Does spawn 3 piglets though. I'm going to get some damage if left untouched. And Lapo, as of now, in control. Going to go into triple elixir. And I'll let you cast triple elixir more because it's a bit of a tongue twister for me in case you haven't realized that the elixir generating so fast. So
yeah, I've done a fair bit of it. And as we go into triple again, the lead right now for Lapo at 12-14. Although Sam now with that poison will shorten the gap quite a bit here. Musketeer going down to the poison and the Goblin Brawler combination. Pigs to the right-hand side. So just as the mortar comes out, pigs go right. Of course, Fireball will limit almost all of that damage to a very, very small amount. 42 seconds left here as the P.E.K.K.A goes high to hold against the cannon cart. Musketeer down with the Valk in protection. And a nice time on the Valk here as the Zappies come in, but the Bar Barrel Zappies will take the Musketeer out on the back. And now we go split with the Pigs, 2 to the left, 2 to the right as Mortar goes high. Mother Witch on defense, Fireball in on the Mother Witch here, trying to get more space for those Skeletons to connect. And that's a big, big time opening on the right-hand side, and the cannon cart going to go down on its off of its wheels. Maybe not, actually. Holds on for just a moment. Bar Barrel comes out to do a little bit more. Poison now down. Poison not going to be able to beat out a Fireball. Fireball does come in on that left-hand side. Snowball on top of it. GG well played here. LaPoKaTi going to hold on and win by about 100 and... I didn't do the math there. Maybe it was 160. Anyway, less than 200 H. Oh, it is 160. GG. My math was clean there. Nice win here for LaPoKaTi in game number 1.
Nice win for Lapo, and now Lapo wasting the Fireball, but definitely getting what he wanted out of it. Just gonna see what he's gonna run next. Could be some sort of minor poison. Could also go with that what's it called, Lava Hound as well. And I'm honestly surprised that we haven't seen anybody pull out an MK Graveyard yet in this competition.
Yeah, what surprises you about that? Is it, do you think that's more just, we talk about like in competition metas that the same thing happens for a little while. Do you think that that's a lot of it? Do you think it's just that maybe the matchups that are playing don't actually turn into the an opportunity that's good for MK Graveyard, or is it just people aren't playing it?
I feel like a lot of the players comfort also leans away from a heavy MK Graveyard control deck, and maybe the scenarios just haven't been appropriate for it. I think a lot of the players are saving their Mother Witch, and a lot of the players are playing a bunch of bait, which could pose some problems for an MK Graveyard. But it's just such a solid deck, and you can swap out a lot of the support cards and the spells with it. So I don't know. I'm just genuinely surprised that we haven't seen it yet.
And to answer the question that SB Roy asked a minute ago, Richmond, do you think CR is becoming excessively matchup dependent? I think that's the purpose of dual mode, is to make at least competitive less directly matchup dependent and give you more information as time goes on. Now, of course, that a big factor in whether that actually is successful or not successful is whether decks are pre-submitted or not. And pre-submitted decks, I think, exacerbate the problem, whereas not having pre-submitted decks make it so that dual mode, in my opinion, is a great way to reduce the randomness of matchup. And Minnie, I'm curious about your thoughts. Obviously, you've played in no-ban formats, you played in ban formats, you played in dual mode. Obviously, matchup is challenging, is certainly an issue, especially when you reach this level of skill where the players make far fewer mistakes overall. How do you feel about, let's take the dual mode with pre-submitted decks out of the conversation and go with the format we're using here where decks are not pre-submitted. How do you feel about dual mode's ability to contend with the issue of matchup in Clash Royale?
It's definitely a great way to reduce the whole scale and chance of the matchup things, because you definitely take into consideration player deck pool, counter snipe ability, and what deck covers the majority of decks, or which deck is most appropriate for each situation. So I definitely love how there's a reduction of skill. In recent metas, dual mode has been somewhat polarized. For example, when the drill meta, when it was just, you would see drill constantly, and whenever your opponent played drill, it was either you had a one card that countered it, or you just had an auto loss. So it's definitely unfortunate when there's polarizing metas. But with this meta, I honestly can say that I'm very satisfied with it, with duels as it is, without pre-submitted decks.
Yeah, and again, pre-submitted decks certainly are controversial, but let's put it in context. Even with pre-submitted decks in CRL 2021, I still think that the top 24 in CRL rankings are pretty accurate for the top 24 players in the world. Yeah,
definitely agree with that the standings are fairly accurate, but then you have to take into account that the big problems and complaints from pre-submitted decks come from those top battles, like Mohamed playing in the top 8, or basically just anybody else playing in the top 8 and realizing that it's just really a struggle to play with pre-submitted decks when your opponents and like you said have such a high caliber and don't make as many mistakes.
Here we go into game number 2. Lapo with the advantage. And just so you guys are aware, some of the delays here, LaPoKaTi did have to restart his router earlier, so maybe that's why we had a delay in game number 2 as well. Either way, here we go. Lapo with the advantage. And the FLG certainly excited about that one. As Sam is running a very interesting lava variation as Tombstone, I guess it's making a moderate comeback right now, but certainly more of a throwback to older lava decks.
Yeah, Tombstone is definitely finding its way into lava decks, especially in dual mode, because it gives you the chance to use the cage in other matchups where the cage is more effective. But in lava, it's Tombstone just works really well with the concept of lava because it sustains basically both sides of the river if you place it in the proper placement, and it just lets you build up your push. So here, I'm not too against the matchup for Sam. He does have Fireball for that Mother Witch and Mega Minion, whichever one he chooses to deal with. And he's got Barbs, which are very difficult to deal with for Lapo on the offense.
Lava Hound up for OP Sam on the left-hand side, 1734, and Lapo pressuring with RG on the right. And Lapo going hard on the right-hand side here with the log to get the Barbs back a little bit, and the Mother Witch certainly helping. The RG almost acting more as a tank to give the Mother Witch an opportunity to create offense than actually creating offense itself. But this is going to be a big Lumberloon push to the left-hand side with the support here and the lightning to slow things down. But oh no, disaster for Lapo as the lightning does not help enough, and that's a GG well played. Sam taking game number 2.
Yeah, and that flying machine made Lapo so uncomfortable. I don't know if you could tell, but he was holding that Mega Minion in his hand for so long, and that flying machine just would not cross the river. It was too busy defending the piggies from the Mother Witch, and that prevented Lapo from getting a lightning both on the lava balloon and that flying machine, and that's essentially what forced him to just lightning the balloon and the hound. And due to that flying machine being up, that Mega Minion, the Mega Minion got distracted by the hound because the balloon just kept on going. But it just wasn't enough, and it really bothered Lapo in the long run. If he placed that Mega Minion earlier, which would have happened if the lightning machine went up, he could have taken care of that push and maybe survived to live another 30 seconds. But yeah, that flying machine just being really, really uncomfortable for Lapo to deal with.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I know I said Lumberloon, guys, and there's no Lumberjack in there. Every once in a while, and these ones, maybe you do misspeak just a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay there. I figured out a way to do this. Here's the replay from the end of that last game. We get to the final few moments of this one, and talk me through what you're seeing here, Minnie. I think you're watching on stream. It might be actually a little bit delayed, but let's talk a little bit through this final.
So yeah, I have the clean feed just like you, but we do have Ruben and Momo about to face off soon.
Oh, I was talking about on my stream. I guess you can't see my stream. I'm playing. I figured out using Twitch clips how to do little replays here. So I'll talk us through this ending. And you can see the Mother Witch working on the right hand side. Mo in a fine spot here, but the lightning ends up being a problem. And look at what happens with the Mega Minion here with the brilliant zap by OP Sam. So keep an eye on that left-hand side as the Mega Minion comes out. The Fly Machine's distracted, and the Mega Minion focusing on the balloon at first, but a zap, just as the balloon gets past, retargets that Mega Minion onto the Lava Hound and lets the loon sneak on by with a sliver of HP. So a great finish there for OP Sam to go ahead and take the win. And yeah, this is it's not like the cleanest way to do replays. I don't have the slow-mo for it, but we do get to go ahead and look at some of those replays in this one as well. So a nice win. And now that we're all tied up between these two players, Minnie, as we go into game number 3, any deck predictions as we get closer?
So let's see. We've seen RG and Mortar from Lapo, which he still has Minor and Lava open. So I definitely always want to leave that as a possibility for Lapo. Sam using Fireball Zap in that game, and in the first game, I believe he used that weird pigs variation. So Sam could be going with bait, could be going with minor wall breakers, as we all know that he loves. And honestly, with that being a possibility, Lapo's chance to use lava does increase in case he were to expect some minor wall breakers from Sam. And if I'm Sam, I just want to prepare something with Hunter, to be prepared. And we all know that Sam loves Hunter. Being an SK during that 2020 CRL season, Morin and Sam just both definitely loved and knew how to get value out of that Hunter. So definitely expect something with Hunter, or at least a Musketeer from Sam. And yeah, for me, it's gonna be Lava for Lapo.
Well, here we go. Let's jump into game number 3. And Lakesh asking, are we live? Yes, we are live. That was a nice little replay as I'm trying to figure out ways to add a little bit of value here for you guys. And Lapo getting the pick up there. Nice Magic Archer. I do get concerned about Magic Archers aggressive at the bridge early on, but no big deal here as there was a +1 advantage for Sam as the E-Wiz countered the Miner. So nice little extra bit of geometry, and it is the German with a slight lead, 22-40. You got to wonder if Lapo was ready for minor wall breakers in game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned that this is Sam's bread and butter, so should always be expected from him when it's open. Good arrows there to take out that Dark Goblin and finish cleaning up that bomb tower. So MK Pigs, I want to say, well, yeah, we've seen the Pigs from Lapo, but I want to say that he's got MK left. Looks a lot like Sam's deck from the first game without the Zappies.
This is fascinating here from OP Sam, and Ashwin Ram making the point here. Dart Goblin in this deck. Very interesting choice.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Good observation from Sam, taking into account that Lapo wasted the log. But Lapo does have arrows, and I mean, with arrows, Goblin Cage, and Bar Barrel, he should have the proper responses to Sam all throughout the game. But this is why Sam is one of the best players with the deck. He is going to make Lapo uncomfortable, and he's going to try to edge something out.
Bomb tower to pick up the Pigs. Magic Archer working in support on both sides here.
You know, both players being fairly conservative at the start. Lapo doesn't look like he's rocking a big spell. Looks like he's just waiting on that MK as his last card with Barbell and Arrows as his 2 main spells. At least we've seen some big spells from Lapo in the first round as opposed to his first best of 3, where he didn't use Fireball at all. So this is going to be fairly difficult for Lapo to deal with because he can't kill the Magic Archer on Sam's side of the field.
And already here asking why there's no Drill being used, because Drill got nerfed real bad and is not super viable these days. And there are the cards that are required for a good Drill deck, you burning them all in a deck that isn't that strong anymore isn't good for running an overall dual deck set. So now that Drill's been nerfed so significantly.
Yeah, and that was an unfortunate Magic Archer from Lapo. Only getting 1 shot out of the 6 that it took on that Royal Recruit onto the tower, and that could be what cost Lapo the game if this comes down to the wire.
152 remaining, sudden death overtime in the mix. So first tower to fall, all it takes is 1, and
MK value
that
there.
Player's out. Yeah, the big MK value at the bridge here. Bomb tower setup. We might see goes to protect with the Valk instead because of worried about the piggies.
Yep, definitely preserving as much bomb tower health as he can. Opts to go into the other lane due to that royal delivery, possibly getting too much value on that Magic Archer, and that Magic Archer gets 1 shot on that tower. Both players do not have much direct damage. Obviously Sam does have that minor and log, so it's going to be interesting to see how he makes them get damage in this last minute.
This is really... Oh, and again. No. Oh, my word. Absolutely brutal. Miner goes to the back and does not get any lineup here for the Magic Archer of Sam. So far, it's Lapo's Magic Archer doing a whole lot more work than that of OP-Sam.
Yeah, but Lapo's Magic Archer here is honestly great. Taking down and great Bandit to protect that Magic Archer. And now that Bandit on the right side is getting so much damage. And Lapo's in control here. Sam has to rally up something. Some sort of second or third gear to try and get this win because Lapo's just playing a better game here. And Sam with a Magic Archer, this could be what he needs.
And that's a good Magic Archer. Does not get the lead back. Dark Goblin on the right-hand side picked up by the Bandit. Bomb Tower down. Needs to protect this Bomb Tower, does OP-Sam. Goes with the minor high, but the big leap in from the Mega Knight. And now we go. Final 15 seconds. 1081 on that left-hand tower. Going to get touched one more time. No, it doesn't. Mega Knight on the right-hand side here for LaPoKaTi. OP-Sam needs to put pressure on. Has to go with the defensive minor. Wall breakers will not get through here. Cage going to be too high. That's a GG. Well played. No Dark Goblin heroics this time for OP-Sam. LaPoKaTi going to hold on and get the win. He'll qualify for the World Finals of the QUESO Cup. And, of course, move on here with a chance to make a push towards being the European champion.
Yep, punching his ticket to World Finals as Lapo. And he just played that really well. Sam was aggressive from the start with those Magic Archers, but Lapo feels like he just played them much more controlled and got more value out of them in the long run. And now we have our top three, and now it's time for probably, I would hope, the best matchup of the day.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be getting to Mohamed Light and Ruben in just a minute. LaPoKaTi will go ahead and wait for the winner of that one down in the lower bracket, in the elimination bracket. So we will see how he fares in that matchup. So to break down what we have left for the bracket, our next matchup is going to be that Mo Light versus Ruben. The winner will be the winner's bracket champion and will not only move on to the grand final, but will have a life to give still. The loser will go on and face Lapo and fight their way back into the grand final. And then, of course, that person will have to beat the winner's bracket champion twice because of that extra life value that you get as the winner's bracket champion. So good spot there for this one. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay from the end of that last matchup between Lapo and Sam. And this is the defensive minor here against the Mega Knight. You have to wonder what was going on with the cycle. And let's go back here because you can see the Valkyrie. I guess maybe the Valkyrie, let me go back a little bit here further. You see the Valkyrie was played up high. Magic Archer now played to pick up against the Mega Knight. And I guess maybe the Valkyrie wasn't in cycle here to hold on. And so rather than sending Minor to the tower and trying to get some more damage on that left-hand lane, Sam goes and controls the Mega Knight, which, you're not sure if there was another good option here. Maybe some leap-to-leap connections were possible and ends up losing by 289. So not sure if the Minor would have been enough to go ahead and get the win there on that left-hand side. Would have needed a lot of shots in to make any real headway. But either way, it is the win overall for LaPoKaTi, who will move on. A nice performance for Sam overall, top 4 in Europe, but not nice enough to make that that world championship here for the QUESO Cup. Man, he had some great moments today here. Minnie. Obviously some of the earlier matches, the very, very close one. But overall, it looks like Lapo's actually in really, really solid form.
Yeah, Lapo lost to Ruben, like I mentioned, anybody can lose a best of 3 to Ruben, but it's how you bounce back. And to me, he's just been playing really solid, really nice deck picks. I'm glad that we're able to see him show his skill from something besides minor wall breakers and cycle decks, which he's proving to be able to do. And he could make it to that winner bracket, that lower bracket finals if he keeps this up.
And SB Roy in the Twitch chat asking how many players go to this World Championship. The top 3 from each region. We have 4 total regions. We have currently this one, EMEA, which is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. We have the APAC region, which played this morning. I'm not going to give you spoiler alerts, but that was a great, great championship in the APAC region. You can see that on Cashman's Twitch channel. That's all the Asian players. Then we have the Latin American region, which is essentially South America at this point. And then we have the NACA region, which is North and Central America. So that one has Canada, U.S., Mexico, and all of the Central American countries. Those are your 4 regions, and the top 3 from each region move on to the QUESO Cup World Championship, which will be next weekend. The day 1 of that will be here on my channel that Saturday, and day 2 of that will be on Cashman's channel on Sunday. So you'll see that next weekend for the QUESO Cup where the top 3 from each of those regions will play for the overall championship over 2 days. So that'll be a whole lot of fun to watch. People asking, when is Mo Light playing? Some spam in the chat there. Mo Light's playing in the next game. We're getting to Ruben and Mo Light. And, man, yeah, Ruben versus Mohamed Light. So if you're a mod on Twitch, let's get those ready as well. Ruben versus Mohamed Light. If you're in the chat, go ahead and put your predictions in right now. Will it be the 2020 World Champion with Team QUESO? Currently top 5. I believe top 5 in the world. Or is he top 6? Let me check the leaderboard here. Currently number 6 in the world on the CRL rankings in Ruben. Will he get the win again over Mo Light like he did this last week? Or will it be the current number 1 Clash Royale League seed for our World Finals, Mohamed Light, taking the victory? Go ahead, vote in chat right now. Get your predictions in right now. And I'm going to, of course, take it over to Mini Minter. I mean, Mini, there's not a lot of people who you say on paper, you go right out the gate and you go, yeah, I think that this person has that you pick over Mo Light. And so the question is, do you pick Ruben over Mo right now in this one? In my opinion, I think this meta has been good for Ruben. You know, I think that part of, we see metas that do affect certain players. We saw, of course, Lucas get a big buff in the last meta. We'll see if it carries on into this one. I think this is a good meta for Ruben overall, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on this matchup.
I just can't take Mo. I just can't take anybody over Mo in the entirety of this year, based on just skill. Because I know for a fact, like, Ruben's not training as much as he did last year. Playing some Valorant, some other games to, like, just, get by. So I know that Mo's definitely putting in more work than just about anybody on the scene. But Ruben is Ruben. Despite a practice difference, somebody who's a pro player just gets that skill embedded in them. It doesn't leave them, like, once you just play a little bit, get the hang of it. But I feel like if Ruben wins, it's going to be because of matchup. I don't feel like he's going to outskill Mo in this best of 3. But who knows? Ruben is Ruben, and he's already proven many times that you shouldn't wager against him. So this will be an interesting one.
It's going to be a great one indeed. So we are just minutes away here from the Winners Bracket Championship. Of course, both these players have qualified for the grand final, for the international final, the world final of the QUESO Cup next Saturday and Sunday. But of course, getting the first round bye, being the champion for the European region, is huge, not to mention a slightly bigger piece of the prize pool. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. No more waiting. Here we go. A marquee matchup. 2 of the best to ever play the game. Team QUESO's Ruben, the 2020 CRL World Champion, and your current world number 1, Mohamed Light. Let's go.
And we see more Spear Goblins coming down from Ruben with Wall Breakers. So could be a minor Wall Breakers control with Mortar instead of that Bomb Tower or that Tesla. And Mo looking something very similar without the Wall Breakers. Could be this Pig EZQ deck that we're seeing a lot. Or Minor. So Minor showdown from both of these guys. And Mo looking to take an early lead. With that Minor on the tower. Spear Gobs from the right from Ruben looking to even up the score just a little bit. And now Mo up. Well, these guys are going to be even all Elixir because Ruben's probably going to answer this with a Valk. And now Mo has to deal with his Valk. So really similar match at the start. I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, +2 on the front end. And, a curious move that I saw there was Ruben making the effort to pick up the Fire Spirit of Mohamed Light with the Minor. So, I don't think he does it again. Twice now. I mean, that's how powerful that Fire Spirit connection is. And look at this, a nice little turnaround here. Picks up the Fire Spirit and then the pressure with the Wall Breakers behind.
Yeah, and that's a great mortar from Mole to basically defend the Wall Breakers and get damage on tower. And I mean, based on terms of skill, I think we're already starting to see Mo just starting to pull away in the first 2 minutes in a very similar match. And even, I mean, Mo has the Hunter, and Ruben, I just feel Ruben too nervous about the Fire Spirits. It is a minor match, but not every piece of damage is going to come down to every single hit point. But wasting 2 miners on 1 Fire Spirit just feels like there's better things he could do. And obviously great pickups from Mo, noting that there wasn't anything cheaper in Cycle to deal with that Fire Spirit. And just great use of it overall.
And that fireball was very nice on both the mortar and the musketeer here. Miner will go down on the right-hand side, so Wallbreaker's not going to connect. Miner goes to the back with the Fire Spirit push. And Ruben this time gets the log and the spear goblins as the defense as he mortars up to the right-hand side one more time. Final 23 seconds on their way, and so far, Mo has been in very, very solid control, but now the first bit of real offense coming in for Ruben on that right-hand side as the Valk now comes out as the different option to hopefully maybe create a counter push for Ruben, but it seems like Mo completely in control here, and as you said, Minnie, kind of abusing that Fire Spirit and making Ruben make, I guess, less than ideal plays to pick it up.
Yeah, for sure. Every miner every miner attack from Mo, since those first 2 defensive miners from Ruben have been with a Fire Spirit right after the miner to follow up and create some pressure, because Ruben doesn't have any Larrys to just get an even trade on that Fire Spirit, and it's always just annoying him poking. But Ruben is getting some damage back with the miners on the tower not getting directly picked up by most defenses. But and here we see Ruben getting a little bit of payback, making Mo use the defensive miner. So I'm interested to see what Ruben's spell is. He hasn't used a fireball yet on offense or defense, so could possibly be a rocket. So I'm just interested to see what he's got.
And playing the mind games with the miner is Ruben as the wall breakers get picked up by the mortar in the middle. The miner goes low and outside here. Spears do not pick up the miner and has to log the Fire Spirit to protect that left-hand tower. And again, this musketeer keeps giving fireball value at the bridge to Mohamed Light. And now it's mortar to the inside this time. Hunter goes into the inside. Wallbreaker gets picked up at 10:42 to 6:50 with 45 seconds left here in triple elixir. Things are very, very tight. Ruben trying to battle back. Mo this time goes Fire Spirit to defend against the miner and spears at the bridge out of Ruben as he goes wall breakers to the left behind that Valkyrie. Valk to pick up on the left-hand side. Final 30 seconds. Fireball in. 2:14 remaining. Very, very difficult right now for Ruben to hold on. Log comes in. Fireball should be easily cycled back around here for Mohamed Light. Wall breakers not going to get through. GG, well played. And we finally see it at the end. It was poison for Ruben. Mo takes game number 1 here.
Yeah, very well played from Mo. And Ruben just had a great last 2 minutes of that game despite losing. He came back, definitely stepped it up towards the end of the game, but we saw what the first minute did to him, and that's what made him lose the game, because Ruben was switching up to minor placements. Mo was not getting a single catch while Ruben caught quite a few of his miners with the Valkyrie, adjusted to that Fire Spirit, defending a little bit more comfortably, whether it be with a log or with some wall breakers to create pressure as well. But I like the way that Ruben adjusted to the rest of the match, but Mo just proved that consistency and playing perfect from the start of the game edges out of Ruben going into a second gear.
And I guess somebody on the Twitch side is having some audio lag. I don't know if that's all for the whole Twitch stream. I only see one person commenting about it. So if you're on Twitch, let me know if the audio is lagging behind for you. It might just be one person. So let me know, Twitch, how the audio is coming through on your side. This guy's saying that I'll beat Mo Light in CRL World Finals. Well, you know, I guess if you're talking, if it's a casting competition, then yes, I'll win that one. If it's disc golf, for sure. If it's jiu-jitsu, Mo's going to sleep. If it's Clash Royale, I'm getting bodied. I'm getting bodied real hard. So I guess it just depends on where you put where you put your competition there for CRL. This question has come in about 1,000 times. So just so it stops getting put in the chat, Minnie, what do you think about Morton and CRL? I don't know what he means by the question. That's a very broad question. But you know, what are your thoughts on Morton, especially as a potential opponent of yours as we go towards the CRL World Finals?
Morton, I feel, especially being so focused on content creation, but I feel like I've seen enough from him getting to like 2 monthly finals in a row. Morton has what it takes to do well in World Finals. Definitely a year to be proud of with managing so much content creation and finishing so high on the CRL leaderboard. Definitely a good year for Morton, something to be proud of. So Yeah, and I mean, I've seen tweets already that he's practicing, so Morton is definitely somebody to take into account for the finals.
Here we go. Game number 2. Mo Light with the advantage. Ruben going Hog Rider. And it almost feels like a relatively predictable pick from Ruben here in game number 2.
I mean, Ruben did use the log in the first game, so maybe he's playing a little bit of mind games with Julesy and Mo, because maybe they didn't expect a Hog Rider with the log on. So, I mean, Knight and Mega Man coming out from Ruben. Ruben always playing some unorthodox variations, as we know. And with this matchup, honestly, I think that the mind games have worked perfectly because Mo, actually, he just used the mortar, so I'm not sure which structure he does have, but it looks like Ruben isn't in too bad of a shape to deal with the piggies.
Yeah, very interesting here. This this odd variant with Mega Minion, certainly not the most common thing you see with Hog EQ, and it is Mo though with the lead, 1778 on the left-hand side for the Egyptian as he cycles his Knight to the left-hand lane, and Ruben does the same thing in response.
Yep, fairly calm down. Ooh, Magic Archer from Ruben. And the poison from Molly, which means that this Magic Archer could be a game winner for Ruben. Later down the line when Mo starts defending those Hog Riders with him. Oh, Mo does have a structure now. This is a fairly even and well-rounded match, Rich.
And both with interesting off-meta variations of stuff we're used to seeing. We see a lot of Royal Hogs. See Royal Hogs Cannon Cart. Royal Hogs Cannon Cart Bomb Tower Poison. You don't see a ton of that. You see a lot of Hog EQ. You don't see a lot of Hog EQ Mega Minion Magic Archer.
Yeah, no, definitely not for a long, long time. And here he's trying to outcycle the Bomb Tower. Not going to happen. Mo keeping up with the cycle for Ruben. But this next is great. You see, I feel like Mo's is going to be on top of that. To the point where Ruben's not going to be able to get Magic Archer connections that aren't unintentional on the tower because of how well Mo just is on top of it.
Cannon Cart goes off its wheels on the right-hand side. Mega Minion working, and Pigs just perfectly in cycle again. Snowball, but Bomb Tower to pick up on that left-hand lane. And the EQ cycle in from Ruben on the right-hand side. It is the lead right now for Mo, both in games and in damage at the moment, but Ruben has the chance to turn this thing around. Of course, the EQ snowball cycle going to be interesting because he does not want to use that snowball too much offensively here.
Yep, and that was one of the times where Ruben did have a chance to get a good Magic Archer on offense. But due to the Elixir disadvantage there, I guess he just opted not to go for it. And Mo seems to be the one who's outcycling Ruben in this matchup, which is pretty weird to think about, but starts seeming like that.
And keep in mind, folks, that the loser is not out here. This is the winner's bracket final. Since neither Ruben nor Mo has lost yet, the loser will go down and face LaPoKaTi for a chance to battle back into the grand final. So whoever wins ends up winning here, and right now things are looking pretty good for Mo. We could see them run it back one more time, and maybe even 2 more times in the grand final. And look at that Magic Archer.
Perfection. That was what Ruben needed to get back into the game. And he's keeping both alive right now, so a Hog Rider is definitely going to come down. Maybe a Bomb Tower. Yeah, he will get enough elixir for the Bomb Tower.
And that snowball might have actually helped Ruben out a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And another Magic Archer from Ruben.
Oh.
Just really taking advantage of the quick cycle, but it just seems to not get that geometry towards the end. Ruben just protecting it endlessly. Unfortunate Hog jumping over it at the end. He's got another one, so if he wants to go for something cheeky again here, which Mo expected it with the prediction layers, going down to the wire this game. Good poison for Mo to get some damage back and kill that Magic Archer.
Here we go.
And final. It's going to be spell cycle from these guys.
Yeah, final 35 seconds. Bomb Tower high to work against the Piggies. And this is really, really tight, really, really crazy. Left-hand lane right now at 593. Right-hand lane at 560. Cannon Cart down. Knight to pick up. Going to see some more EQ cycle on the right-hand side here from Ruben most likely. Has to play good defense against these piggies, though. Poison in with the pig. Snowball on defense for Ruben. Snowball on offense for Mo. 386 to 430. Hog Rider down one more time. High bomb tower in 361 top left-hand side. Mo has the lead right now, but Poison ticks very, very slowly. EQ in on the right-hand lane, plus Snowball. Down to 164. Poison not going to tick enough, and there you go. Ruben taking the win there at the end. Great way to battle back and win this one by 57 HP.
Yeah, but we talked about those magic archers being the key for Ruben to win this game, and that's exactly how it was. Great use of his cycle due to Mo only having poison and no real way to kill those magic archers at the bridge because poison ticks so slowly, like you said. And the cycle of 2 magic archers, once he wasted that knight to take care of one, Ruben dropped the other magic archer and a knight to protect it to make sure that he got some damage back. And from then, EQ cycle and constant pressure from Ruben, as well as good defense with the bomb tower and snowball, got him to win.
And a great win it was. Let's go take a look. I thought I downloaded that. Hold on. One moment. We're gonna go take a look at the. Oh, there it is. Boom. Let's go take a look at the replay from this one, and take a look at the end here. It's fun to work these things in so you can see. It's the piggies on the left-hand side with the final 20 seconds. And at this point, you know, it's just, you talked about the outcycling. Well, at this point, while it was Mo outcycling Ruben early on, with the final 10 seconds left, EQ versus Poison, it's Ruben getting the outcycle. Oh, you know what? I don't think I have, this is actually funny. I don't think I actually have the co-caster mic set up here on, oh wait, no, I should. Minnie, did we lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, there you go.
Did you ask me a question?
I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. I have so much stuff going on. But I was saying that you were talking earlier, and I'll go back to the replay here one more time. You were talking about the outcycling and how it was interesting that Mo was outcycling Ruben early on in the matchup. But as things got near the end here, it was Ruben able to outcycle Mo with the spells.
Yeah, so we saw Ruben start to play more of those cheap elixir. He started using the snowball a lot more, whether it was on defense or offense, which did give him that edge back over the cycle game, because he just wasn't using it that much in the times when elixir phase. And I mean, we talked about it. I feel like Ruben did have a decent matchup due to Mo just shouldn't have ever gotten damage besides poison. Because Bomb Tower just cancels out the pigs and a +1 elixir trade. And if anything, Snowball on defense versus a Snowball on offense at the same time will still cancel the attack. And just EQ cycle for Ruben and the possibility to get Magic Archer damage, which was the game winner for Ruben. Just felt like Ruben had much more chances to get the win in that than Mo.
I'm going to play it one more time now. If you guys can check this one out. This is really an interesting matchup as far as deck choices. The Mega Minion in here for Ruben, obviously Magic Archer, certainly different. Mohamed Light, just not that off meta for Mo with the Royal Hogs deck. So looking at what we have here, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it so we can look at the decks here. I guess we're going right into it. Thoughts on, predictions on, what do you got here for Game 3?
Well, we've seen both players waste their mortar, and both of them go fairly cycle-based, so definitely going to be something heavier-based for this third game. Mo looks like it could be E-Giant or Splash Shard. Ruben does have that Mother Witch open, so it's interesting to see what Julesy prepared for that, due to the fact that Mo did use his Fireball already.
I don't know what is, hold on, something is... There we go. There was something strange happening with the OBS, but I think we should be fixed now.
All right, cool. So EQ coming up from Mo, which kind of takes away that graveyard aspect. I might be a little far-fetched here, but this, with that delivery, I don't think. It can't be Miner because he wasted his Miner already. I was thinking could possibly... No, it's Hog from Mo. Alright. Makes much more sense. And what do we have from Ruben? Oh. Just a little late on those debarbs. And this should be a pretty decent and easy defense for Mo. Gonna have the delivery here to clean up. And yeah, well,
Yeah.
not a good start for Ruben.
17:42 on the right-hand side for Ruben, as got a little late with those Royal Hogs here, and we'll see how he contends this time with the Zappies to slow the, not the Royal Hogs, the Hog Rider in that right-hand lane. Does get one shot, not two, 14:78 remaining. So opening up, it's Mo going Hog EQ cycle, Dark Prince and Bomber in this one. And you think that this was all just predicting Royal Hogs for Game 3?
Yep. So I mean, Mo doesn't have the Larrys to take care of to distract really easily, but he does have a bomber and also an Electro Spirit. So I think Mo will be able to work that issue out. He does have the Firecracker, which he can cycle much faster than Ruben here, which is going with a heavy deck. So we'll see, and it gets taken out just barely there by the Flying Machine. So that's all I see over there. Royal Hogs going out from Ruben. Try to protect that Flying Machine as much as he can, and the Firecrackers from Mo are just going to be so difficult to take out.
And great control here from Mo on the right-hand side. So it looks like he and Julesy did get the analysis right. You see a very off-meta version of Hog EQ cycle, but Delivery, Bomber, Dark Prince, and Firecracker. So it definitely looks like he was trying to shut down Royal Hogs in this one. So far, the shutdown is happening. As we go into sudden death overtime, this winner's bracket final gives the lead to Mohamed Light, but Ruben has finally fired back a bit to 1898 on Mo's bottom right-hand tower.
Yep, Ruben definitely firing back. Slight mistake from Momo, like finally with that delivery, missing one E-Barb, and causing that E-Barb to get 2 hits on the right tower. And that Flying Machine from Ruben previously also got a bunch of value, definitely getting value for 4 elixir. But honestly, Mo slipped up once. The odds of him slipping up again in a deck like this, as soon as Mini Mentor opens his mouth, obviously, as he evens the damage. And this is gonna be a great third game. Motherwitch takes that out, and I mean, gonna spawn another piggy with that Dark Prince, and another great Hog Rider from Momo, taking advantage of the low elixir from Ruben. Barbell and Fireball, but that still gets 2 shots. Killer and great Hog Rider from Momo, honestly.
Defensive Fireball,
very
not enough there for Ruben. And yeah, that Hog Rider was absolutely massive. If the game gets won by Mohamed Light, that might be the move that gets it done right there. And here we go, final 40 seconds. Triple elixir, and it's Ruben setting up Mega Knight on that left-hand side, maybe just preemptively trying to say, hey, don't throw your hogs this way, as he fireballs onto the back end here. Bar Barrel goes into the open Tesla, and this might open up a route here for the pigs to go to the right-hand side. They go split in the middle. That might go 3 to the right as the Tesla picks up 2 flying machines, though. Very difficult for Mo to contend with this. Here we go. Final 15 seconds. Mega Knight deep in territory. 2 flying machines down. Firecracker not going to get one of them. 2 to the right-hand lane here. It has to be a full send for Ruben to stay in. The pigs do come down, but that's the Tesla. That's going to be a GG. A well played. Mo takes this one off of Ruben and advances to our European final. Ruben has to drop down and fight his way back against LaPoKaTi. What a great match between these two.
What a great match it was, and we saw Mo kind of lose his grip a little bit due to that Flying Machine. It's very, very uncomfortable dealing with that when you don't have a Mega Man and to take it out really quickly. But Mo just stable defense towards the end. Even when Ruben stacked 2 Flying Machines, he did miss a Fireball because he got the Bomber and tried to get the Firecracker as well. That Firecracker just moves around so much. And Mo getting the win with Cycle in the 3rd game when we didn't think that Cycle was going to be a big thing in that 3rd game due to the use of basically most Cycle cards. But Mo, just bread and butter.
And here we go, taking a look at the... Let's take a look at the bracket first before we actually get into this replay. And we'll go back and look at the bracket right now. Mohamed Light has punched his ticket to the regional final for the EMEA region. Ruben drops down to face off against LaPoKaTi. That is a single best of 3 between Ruben and Lapo, as they have both already given up their extra life, so they will play a single best of 3. Both of them have qualified for the World Championship, but only one can go through and play for the European Championship, so we'll see who that is here in a couple of minutes. We're going to give Ruben, of course, some time to rebuild his decks for that game. Let's first take a look at this little moment here. And this is a big replay moment from the middle of the match. It was 1472 to 1420, and Ruben had battled back to make this thing pretty even again as the Royal Hogs come in on the right-hand side. But here was the totally opportunistic Hog Rider on that left-hand lane, and the only response Ruben had here was a Fireball Barb Barrel. So not only does he not stop the hits, but spends 6 on 4. So the negative damage trade, the -2 trade, and a huge moment there to take advantage by Mohamed Light. And that is, of course, why he is Mohamed Light, one of the best, recognizing a very important, very valuable outplay situation for that one. So now, Mini, we're going on to our Ruben versus LaPoKaTi matchup. And it feels like Ruben and Mo were pulling out all the stops there deck building wise. Do you think this one maybe goes a little bit more down the line with meta, or do you expect some wild stuff out of Ruben and Lapo here in our lower bracket final?
I've learned from experience that you can't expect anything for sure with Ruben, because some of the times when there's a good deck pick, Ruben will opt for comfort, but LaPoKaTi, it just seems like he's following the analyst recommendations to a T. So it'll be interesting. And in terms of just gameplay, Lapo and Ruben are right there right now. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see that was.
Sheriff asking how did Ruben give his life? He didn't. He just did. The loss that he just took was giving that life. So now Mo has gone undefeated. Mo has not lost yet at all in this competition, and Ruben now has lost once. So there you go. Ruben now drops down to the lower bracket, the elimination bracket. He's in a fight against Lapo, so he and Lapo, a single best of 3 to see who goes home and who goes on. And the winner will go back and have to beat Mo twice if they want to be the European champion. So already our top 3 from the EMEA region are Mohamed Light, Ruben, and LaPoKaTi. All three will go through to the World Championship for this cup next month. And then, this is it. I guess here, if you want to find a competition, I don't know what this competition is, but I guess it's being run by Team QUESO. So if you want to get some gear, I guess they're running a competition over on that side. So all 3 of these guys are through to next weekend's QUESO Cup World Championship, but of course there's prize pool and there is placement to be decided. Let me go ahead and check on how the prize pool works out for today. I know a portion of it is being distributed to the top 3. So let me go ahead and confirm that with the League Ops. But of course also I believe that number 1, the champion, which will be one of these 3, gets an early gets a first round bye in our finals next weekend. So there you go. Let's go ahead and I guess we're jumping into it. Ruben versus Lapo. Here we go. Best of 3 to see who moves on to our grand final.
Ruben coming off of that loss against Momo. Interesting to see how he'll bounce back.
And waiting on some word on those prizes here. And yes, today, 3rd place, which is this match, 3rd place gets $1,000. 2nd place gets $1,500, and 1st place gets $2,000. And nice little King Tower activation there. That's kind of an interesting early placement with the Goblin Barrel from Ruben. But I guess maybe he was betting against something that didn't have NATO, although seeing Bomber first makes that kind of an iffy play.
Yeah, maybe not expecting the NATO on Lapo coming out with a splasher at the first game, and Ruben with bait. So both using something not really expected. And matchup-wise, it feels like Ruben should maintain control in times 1, but in double and triple, Lapo should really pick up.
And I guess some people in the chat not hearing, but yes, the top 3 all qualify for Worlds, and they already have. And just for those of you playing along at home, the prize for 4th place for OP Sam is $500. So Sam did not walk away empty-handed. He got $500 for his 4th place finish. The winner of this game will guarantee at least $1,500, and the loser will walk home with a World Final spot for the QUESO Cup and $1,000 in prize money. And as we pass into our final 20 seconds of single elixir, so far it is the lead for for Ruben, but a lead that's going to be difficult to add on to with bait against an activated King Tower.
Yep, for sure. And now we're about to get into that double elixir, like you said, bait against that activated King Tower. And the thing is, no bar barrel though from Lapo, so that could be Ruben's saving grace for this match. And Rascal's getting a bunch of damage on the tower, giving Ruben a decent advantage.
And here we go. Dark Prince set up to the right-hand side, 1874 there. So we'll also see how much Ruben, as we get into the later moments, takes advantage of tanks penetrating into the opponent territory and trying to get some tanked for Goblin Barrels in. We'll see if that's the case. Cannon cart down to the right-hand side. And then just as the fireball comes down, there you go. Bar Barrel does come out very late. Holds on to that until the 7th card, and 2.5 minutes played does LaPoKaTi.
Yeah, definitely don't understand why he hasn't played that earlier on. Kind of get the notion that he hadn't had a bomber instead of it, but looks like he's just going to be rocking it, and hopefully that means that he can use the NATO more aggressively on offense now.
Cannon cart to the right-hand side, Rascals to the left-hand side, and maybe playing the guessing game there goes Ruben, and expecting that since the night cycle to the right that Lapo might not use the use any other defenses, and the NATO does not prevent much of that damage, or doesn't prevent all of it, at least 1676 as we go into sudden death overtime. Rascals set up on the right-hand side.
Yep, and the Rascals are a big problem for that Baby Dragon to deal with. Obviously, Lapo trying to hold that fireball on for every time that he sees them, and Lapo's going to have to try to capitalize on when those Rascals are wasted as they're on the other lane. They're not in cycle to get a good Baby Dragon Graveyard push on the tower.
Spears to the right-hand side. Bomber will pick them up fine, and still the result kind of holding at the moment, 1676 to 2057 with 80 seconds left in this matchup as the Rascals go split. Boy, girl left, girl to the right-hand side.
Yep, clock ticking down for times 3 elixir, and we see the first graveyard from Lapo come down. Interesting to see how Ruben will defend this one.
Spears down low and Dark Prince high. Man, that NATO does not do a whole lot here for Lapo. Maybe expected a bit more here, but now he has a huge downhill push. Dark Prince, Rascal Boy, Spears, and 2 Rascal Girls. This is a lot to contend with, and you see Ruben now putting into the pedal to the metal with the cannon cart on the right-hand side.
Yep, good NATO to bring those troops back and control it more with the Baby Dragon. That Goblin Barrel that Ruben threw when Lapo had the barrel end cycle, the bomber actually shot the inside Goblin, and that made it die to the Dark Prince. So this is coming down to the wire. Maybe Ruben will start cycling a rocket soon. Who knows? 30 seconds left, Rich.
Spear Goblins on defense. NATO does pull all of that off. Graveyard not getting much. Fireball trying to make room. Baby Dragon does get 1 belch on tower. That's an absolutely huge one. 15 seconds left. First rocket cycle in for Ruben, plus Snowball. So 2:10 remaining. Ruben slightly in the lead here. Probably cannot cycle again, though. Fireball in. Rocket would not travel fast enough. Goblin Barrel played defensively, and the Rocket not out in time. So Ruben here falls in game number 1 in a rough one. GG, well played. Lapo taking the victory.
Lapo edging that one out in a very, very even matchup. It was a lot more closer than should have been, mostly due to the fact that Lapo held onto that bar bill for so long. Not really sure why, but he did edge it out, like we said, in that first graveyard in Triple Elixir. Once those Rascals were out of hand, that Baby Dragon got some good splash damage as well as the graveyard on the tower.
And you got to wonder how huge that King Tower activation. You'd have to go through and like go piece by piece, but got to wonder how big that King Tower activation was early on in helping with some of those defenses, letting Lapo make some decisions as time goes. So game number 1, Lapo going graveyard, and I guess some of the, obviously, players at this level can play everything, but you always got to give a little tip of the hat there to his former teammate in the God RF. And then Ruben with the first rocket of the day, if I remember correctly. Judgmental asking a question for you, Minnie. Does Ruben have anyone helping him with analysis in these matchups that you know of?
That I know of, no. And this would have to be like some super top secret thing for me to not know about, or some very high strategy thing coming from Ruben and Team QUESO, because I've not heard of a single analyst that's helped Ruben throughout this entire year. So,
very curious. Of course, now we still have 2 more to be played in this BO3, but Lapo 1 win away from 15K, or 1,500, not 15K, from 1,500, and of course, going to face off against Mohamed Light in the European Grand Final. And then, of course, all of them we'll see again next weekend. Again, Saturday will be here on my channel. Sunday will be on Cashman's channel next weekend. So make sure if you haven't yet, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. There's the link in the chat one more time. If you're on Twitch, go ahead and follow. So you make sure that you're back here next weekend for all the big-time action. I don't think I clipped any replays from that one. No, I did not. So it's hard to play with the best player if you already won CRL, says Yash Varden. And that's interesting, actually. You know, we've players who've won World Finals and stayed and then their year afterwards, right? You have Nova Esports, who won World Finals in 2018 and came back as really, really powerful, at least in their region. But on the international stage, Nova struggled in 2019 against the West, both in World Cyber Games and, of course, at CRL World Finals. And then you go take a look at what happened with Team Liquid, winning 2019, struggling in 2020. Team QUESO, though, wins in 2020, and Ruben is still a top 10 CRL rankings here in 2021. Man, you talk about not only the pace of what it takes to train at this level, but then also how do you maintain that motivation after you win a world championship?
Yeah, and I feel like it comes down to a lot like what I said. Ruben's definitely got into some other hobbies besides CR. And, I'm not a World Finals winner or a champion of, like, the biggest event ever. But even a top 2 in a monthly final kind of like, okay, now we have to keep this up for, like, so much longer. And it definitely gets tiring, and it's a big mental game. But Ruben proving to be able to keep up with it, at least for this year. So, Ruben looking to rock that Royal Hogs without any big spill. We don't know if it's Barbell or Log yet, and Lapo coming out again with that Mortar Graveyard.
Fake LaPoKaTi with the question in the YouTube chat. Does Mini have an analyst?
I work with the whole tribe team, so yes, I have an analyst. And I also kind of put, like, feedback and, like, take some decisions myself sometimes. But yeah, it's good to have an analyst.
So Cannon Cart cycles to the right-hand side here for Lapo, and he decides to poison off the Mother Witch. Mega Knight high for the Spaniard as he sets up to maybe create a bit of a counter push. We'll see if he splits lanes or sells out on the right, and it's full send on the right-hand side with the Heal Spirit, and that's a big value Heal Spirit on that many troops.
That is, and that's a great snowball to push that stuff back and split the damage a little bit, although that right-hand tower from Lapo is going to take some damage, and he's down a lot of elixir. Double elixir is his saving grace right now.
Magic Archer for a bit of extra value here and gets the pigs on tower faster, so Ruben pulling out some moves, and that's going to be a ton of damage. Opens up a massive lead as we go into double.
Ruben rallying this one back. Log pushes the Valk out of range of the cage, so slight mistake on Ruben's part. Time ticking down with 700 HP on Lapo's tower. This is looking like Ruben's game to win.
695 remaining to 1946. Have not seen Lapo pull the trigger on a win condition yet. Not going to be Graveyard, obviously, as he played GY in game number 1. So curious to see if this is just a Mortar Cycle deck or if he has something else going on in this one. Mega Knight leaps to the right-hand side as the Bandit, Log, and Brawler play defense on that left-hand lane with some Hill Spirit support. Magic Archer getting deep in territory. Snowball comes out to push it back as the Musketeer for Lapo connects on the left-hand side. No damage in on the right-hand lane, but it does feel like that did contribute to the elixir advantage for Ruben.
Yep, and as you said, I hadn't noticed that Graveyard used by Lapo into consideration for this set, so maybe he's got Royal Hogs, or maybe he repeated and just hasn't used the card. I'm not sure, but this is gonna be game with these Royal Hogs, or at least put it into Log range.
And there you go. Hogs go chomp, 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 bite, 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 and it is pigs for Lapo. Just, I guess, didn't find a place where he felt good using them throughout the game. And here we go. Game number 1 goes for Ruben. LaPoKaTi not playing his Royal Hogs until the game was pretty much over. What a strange happenstance. Many thoughts on that one. Why was he holding on so long?
Yeah, very interesting decision from Lapo in the first game, holding that bar barrel until, like, he had a chance to use it and chose to waste a tornado and not even try to activate King Tower with it. Although I do think it was slightly activated before, not sure, but still saving cards that could alter the outcome of the game. towards really late in the game where their use kind of like reduces. So questionable decision from Lapo, but now we have a game 3 where it all gets decided, Rich.
All gets decided again. The winner moves on to face Mohamed Light, so it'll either be Ruben one more time or Lapo go and try to take out the current world number 1. And of course, winner gets an extra guaranteed $500 in this matchup as well. So the total prize pool for today is $5,000, $2,000 to first place, $1,500 to second place, $1,000 to third, and Sam already walked away with $500 himself. So some cash on the line, and of course it's a long ways away from the previous versions, right? Minnie, if we go back to the old Cabrera Cups, Moreno Cups, whatever it might be, the prize pool for this event, for just this European final, would have been more than the prize pool for those events just about a year or 2 years ago. And of course, now we're talking about an overall prize pool of around $40,000, I believe. It's somewhere between $32,000 and $40,000 for the QUESO Cup Fall Split overall. So it's an interesting way how far along the prize pools have come in such a short time.
Yep, we're definitely seeing more investments into the prize pool of these tournaments. Definitely bringing in a bigger audience and, in my opinion, a higher skill cap and gameplay than before, with all these top tier players and regions all across the world, all for them to meet in one big grand final next week.
Here we go.
I'll be right back.
Game number 3. Lapo opens up with Minor, and Ruben responds with the Mega Minion. An aggressive Royal Giant. Ruben, of course, known for playing lots of RG, and a nice prediction bar barrel gets way ahead of that Tesla, but Tesla Log Dark Prince up to the task of stopping the RG from connecting. And lots of cheers in both directions for both Ruben and LaPoKaTi coming from the YouTube chat. And Ruben going fairly quick cycle with this RG. Quick cycle both directions. As you can see, LaPoKaTi with 2 single elixir cards and a double and a 2 elixir card. And same thing for Ruben on his side as he gets very aggressive with the high RG. Another attempt to get on that Tesla, but trying to get past that Tesla log delivery combination. And here you go, the log knocks it back. So hard to actually get an RG to connect, especially in singles. So keep an eye on either Ruben finding more ways to deal with that Tesla. Of course, EQ is a possibility, just wouldn't want to play it in single and overcommit too much. EQ is still alive for Ruben, and of course, he might stack up, do 1 RG way in the back, and then go for a second at the bridge as we get into double or more likely triple elixir time. But for the moment, going to be very difficult, and Lapo content to play defense, not overcommit here, and give a real opportunity for the RG to push through. And Ruben, yeah, frustrated knowing it's going to be very, very difficult with this fast cycle, control, with solid DPS deck, very difficult for him to get past Lapo.
Yeah, I think Ruben realizes that he's in quite a bit of a predicament. This deck from Igor, which he created like 2 metas ago, has been really great at dealing with Royal Giant. Mostly because of that quick cycle delivery and that rocket for Royal Giants in the back, so kind of negating any real potential strong attacks from Ruben as long as it's played correctly. And Ruben's gonna have to work some magic here to get some connections on the tower.
Goes RG to the right-hand side this time, and the Tesla varied to go lower out of LaPoKaTi. Minor working on the left-hand lane here, getting a lot of chip damage, and RG just cannot get past this. And I gotta wonder now if maybe Ruben switches up the way his bar barrels go and think about taking the skeletons off the board rather than trying to go for the Tesla so early.
Yeah, definitely one thing to consider, but the thing is, Lapo is playing his, and there we go, instantly Royal Giant goes down, regardless of which lane it is, Rocket comes down. Even trade and smart play from Lapo. The thing is, with that barbell holding it off, that just means that Lapo is going to hold his Larrys and cycle other defenses. So Ruben's just in a really tough spot right now.
So now going for the split with the 2 RGs, and Lapo, instead of going Tesla in the middle, goes Tesla to the healthy one on that left-hand lane. But RG does connect, and RG stays alive here. Unbelievable. Now suddenly Ruben has the lead, 1772 on the right-hand lane, and Dark Prince not going to connect. So Ruben able to break through here as that RG does not get taken out by the Princess Tower, and now a nice pickup. This is a very compelling final 90.
That is exactly what Ruben needed to get back into the game. Questionable RG from back as we knew it was going to get rocketed. Now Lapo has the advantage of logging and getting chip damage onto the same lane, as well as rocketing, possibly, if Ruben wants to keep RGing in the back, which he probably will not do in that lane
And
as the game goes on.
Wow, this time RG goes to the middle, but still able to get that second Royal Giant, or Tesla goes to the middle, second Royal Giant all the way down. Smart miner from Lapo, realizing he had to get a bunch of DPS onto that Royal Giant. The RG does get past the Tesla, though. This is absolutely huge. Fireball in. That is a massive lead. 48 seconds left. It's 10:92 to 17:94, and Fishboy does not connect. This is huge for the Spaniard.
Great defense coming down from Ruben, just being ahead of the game and doing exactly what he needs to take the lead in this very difficult matchup, getting even more damage with the RG.
Royal Giant gets one more, 838 on the right-hand lane, cannot take a Dark Prince shot here, and now it's Rocket Cycle from LaPoKaTi. RG at the bridge, Mega Minion behind, Fireball there to eat up a little bit, does not get on the Tesla, so the RG will not connect, but still, the Mark of the Beast on the right-hand side as Rocket Cycle comes in for Lapo on that bottom left-hand lane. LaPoKaTi going to struggle to get back to another rocket in time. Log chip on that right-hand side. Fireball adds to the lead here, and that's going to be a GG well played. What a performance by Ruben, sneaking past the Tesla on the right-hand side, connecting with that Royal Giant, taking a massive 2-1 win over LaPoKaTi, and we're going to run it back in our grand final, folks. Ruben versus Light, part 2 up next.
Both players getting geared up for yet another rematch throughout all the competition this year, and that was very fortunate. It's a combination of great gameplay from Ruben. We saw that first big chunk of 3 hits from the RG being a result of that Mega Minion and that Bar Barrel tanking for the tower somehow, some way. And after that, it was very, very well executed defense with the skeletons plus the fishers to clean up all the miners on the tower for Ruben, and then just playing his RG very well. And at certain points, outcycling out LaPoKaTi's Tesla.
And, I mean, Ruben is, you talk about Ruben and his micro, you talk about Ruben all the way around, but Ruben is a phenomenal Royal Giant player. And Kelly Casado saying Ruben playing RG is so pretty. Ruben's a phenomenal Royal Giant player, and that's why he's known for playing a lot of Hog, a lot of Royal Giant, a lot of Loon. And RG he has been great with, and it's a very nice comeback on his part to go ahead and get it done. And now we get to see one more time. Again, you talk about matchups that you really want to see. Ruben versus Mo. That's a matchup that I'm down to watch over and over and over again. And guess what? We get at least one more BO3, maybe 2, if Ruben can win the first one.
Yep, and we'll see just how far Ruben is willing to let Mo push him down, because honestly, that's what it is at this point. This is all Light 2021, so we'll see what Ruben has to say about it in this next best of 3.
And, big thanks to Chuck Wagon, of course, over on Twitch. The mod has to step out, but Mod E has the predictions taken care of over on Twitch. So we're going to predict the first BO3 for you guys on Twitch, Mo versus Ruben. Round 2 coming up, and Ruben does have to win twice in order to win the championship, guys. Mo has not lost yet, so he has the extra life to give. And Brandon, you've asked that question a number of times. I've responded to it in chat already. I have no idea when the next big update is coming. I don't know what the next update is. I don't know when the next update is. I don't know when a card is coming. All those things, I have no information. And if I did, until Supercell announces it, I wouldn't share it with you anyway. But no harm in asking. Yeah, no information for that as well. All I'm focused on right now is 2 great Clash Royale pros going head-to-head here. Man, I kind of popped those 2 knuckles right this one. And it should be a fun one. Now, this is an interesting question for you that I always find fascinating, Minnie. You in these double elimination brackets, you have to create some sort of advantage for the player in the winner's side of it, right? Do you feel like the extra life, like the winning 2, someone has to win 2 BO3s, is too strong of an advantage, or is that the right advantage?
No, I definitely think it's appropriate. If you come from the winner bracket and you have that lives advantage, it's definitely well deserved, and it puts you in that advantage in the grand finals. And it's up to that losers bracket person to rally back with
whichever strategy it may be, mind games, deck selection, or just flat out play the best Clash Royale of their life to try to turn that advantage around.
Yeah, it's certainly a tough one. I've gone back and forth. I think that in Clash Royale, maybe, I don't know. I do wonder if maybe there's a better advantage to be given in the 6-person bracket for like the round 1 versus round 2 loser. Like a game advantage maybe or something. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, it's always a question from esport to esport. How do you balance a double elimination bracket and give that advantage out? And let's see. Someone asking, while we're waiting, people asking, will I be watching Robbie versus Nick today? War Diaz, let's go. 209. Stockton. I'm a Sacramento boy, so I know those. I grew up close to Stockton and knew a lot of those. Let's just say I knew a lot of Diaz brother type guys growing up. But I'm a big fan of both Nick and Nate, and excited to watch that one. And that'll be a great fight either way. And heck yes, I'm watching that one tonight. I'm very excited for that matchup. Am I more excited for that matchup than I am for Ruben versus Mo? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. This is definitely a top of the marquee one. And we'll be getting this one in a minute. Of course, Ruben does need some time to reset his decks. Let's see. Quentin Goins saying, didn't Ruben beat Mo in one of the CRL monthly qualifiers and 2 BO3s because Mo defaulted his last game? Something about not submitting his decks in time. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Multiple times throughout that weekend, Mo delayed in submitting his decks beyond the time given and referee instructions, and in the end, they disqualified him. So we didn't get to see that monthly final, but guess what? We get to see it here, which is pretty cool as well. Alpha Moriarty saying everyone really just competing for the 3rd place spot, and Ruben and Mo will take top 2. Well, yes, they have taken top 2 here. Frio saying Molt is the best player. He has good hats. I'll tell you that much. Molt has excellent hats, and a really big YouTube channel. So there you go. Let's see. Some Let's Go Ruben. Kelly Casado saying I'm from Fresno. Hey, everyone, right now, we're going to get this matchup in a moment. I know that there's a vote on Twitch, of course, the channel point stuff, but on YouTube, let's go ahead and get your thoughts on Ruben versus Mo. Let's talk about just this first BO3. Obviously, Mo came out on top the first time mini during the winner's bracket final. Do you see this one any different? They both pulled out all the stops. I do think that no matter who wins this one, I think that especially after Game 1, we're going to see some real interesting efforts at sniping and counter-sniping in Game 2 and maybe Game 3.
Yeah, I feel like Ruben definitely has to try to pull something out of his hat for this matchup game because obviously Mo won the matchup game in the previous one with basically all the games that he won were his matchups. And Ruben just needs to try something new at this rate because comfort and whatever he's trying out is obviously not working for him. So maybe just, I don't know, maybe revert to some deck picks from that month where he beat Mo in the monthly finals. Maybe that can do the trick.
I have to stop everyone here as Ashwin Ram saying that Molt's the goat of disc golf. And I'll take that fight. I'll take that one for sure. Let's go ahead and jump into a fight that I won't take, but I will cast and I will watch Ruben and Mo Light running it back, the European Championship right here, right now. Let's go.
Ruben with Barbell and Hunter to open it up, log and Mega Minion from Mo Light. So could it be a possible graveyard from Ruben? RG most likely from the Egyptian. We can see how this one plays out. RG from both. We're going to have quite a mirror. Well, not a complete mirror, but fairly similar matchups here. See who can take the edge on this one, Rich.
So talk to me about the fisherman play in the middle here. Obviously, trying to not get picked up by something to distract the fisherman up high. But it does seem like the fisherman in the middle play, and you see it from both sides. From an amateur's perspective, you're going, hey, that you're still giving the RG tons of shots on tower, as we saw in both directions. From the pro's perspective, what is the reason why you're using the fisherman to pull in like that rather than trying to go for some bigger pull?
So basically, the objective of that is to get both towers shooting it and to be able to get your support. It also helps because you know that your rival has fishermen when they're playing RG, so you can get other support troops on that RG before and give yourself a little bit more time before that RG before that fisherman pulls your defense. And it's very risky to go for like switch lanes, fishermen's, and RG mirror matches because most of the time both players are very aware of that. And when you go for it, it's either a win-win or a lose-lose because you either get predicted and you just eat an entire RG and your fisherman goes walking to whatever they throw to distract, or you pull and save the game. So yeah, both advantages and disadvantages of doing that. Double elixir for these two guys now.
14:56 remaining for Ruben on the left-hand lane to 12:02. And that's a nice little prediction there with the bar barrel on the Fishboy. Fireball comes in, and this is Ruben now, adding significantly to that lead. 5:22 remaining, and that bar barrel in front of the Fisherman was absolutely massive. Here we go, and now the Fisherman of Ruben running away from the Royal Giant here, so trying to get maybe a bit too fancy, and the lead he had totally locked up. And oh, wow. Then he comes out with the oh, wow. And that's an absolute insane turn of events here to put Ruben in the hole.
Yeah, that fisherman is not what we expect from Ruben. And at this stage of competition, that cost him the game. He could have pulled out a decent defense if he placed that fisherman into the same lane to pull that RG to both towers. But just one little misplay costing the game against a rival like Mohamed Light.
Well, just what you were talking about, right? Was it that the attempt to pull to the opposite lane is either a total success story or an absolute disaster, and we just saw the disaster version of that, right? Like he went for that opposite lane pull and tried to go for little to no damage, instead ended up getting his tower completely shredded.
Yep, and he attempted to push up a tower switch, which is much more difficult to pull off the traditional high fisherman, which was obviously not viable due to the amount of troops that Mo had coming from his side of the field and the elixir that he had available. But basically, I think he tried to put the fisherman low and use an E-Spirit to make it retarget to the other tower all the way towards like the lower end of the map. And if he did that, he would have made maybe 2 RG shots max. Could have been 1 if he did it very smoothly, but obviously not the case. And placing that fisherman way too early just cost him the tower and the game.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay from these this final moment, and look at this. You see this fisherman. This was actually a little bit too late, so we didn't actually get to see the fisherman, the mistake. You can see it walk away here. Here you go. So right now at this stage, it's Ruben way ahead, 5:22 to 14:56. And you see the fisherman just was played a little bit too far outside. I was a little bit late on clipping that one and just absolutely walked away. Second fisherman comes down and not able to do enough to stop the last shot come in. Even if that last shot hadn't come in, Ruben might still have had a chance in this matchup, but unfortunately for him, the first fisherman ended up costing him so much. GG, well played, and there you go. That's game number 1 down. And Mo Light now just has to win one of the next 2 to become our European champion.
Yep, Mo definitely in the driver's seat for this second best of 3 between these two guys. And yeah, I mean, Ruben just making mistakes. Maybe it's nerves, maybe it's a lack of focus. But Mo seems to have his number. And it's just, I don't know. I've just never seen anybody give Ruben such a hard time throughout his college career.
Yeah, I mean, you put a lot of factors into it, right? Like you mentioned, Ruben's playing some other hobbies, so maybe a foot off the gas pedal a bit. Mo in perfect rhythm, and that's an interesting moment there where you kind of feel like Ruben had that locked, and then one little slip up uncharacteristic for Ruben in that one, and that ended up being, maybe he was trying to be less predictable, and that's why he went with that move. But either way, it didn't work. It didn't pay off, and now we're in a situation where Mo has the championship pretty ready to go. And Josh Varden with a kind of a hot take chat here. Add SK before Mo's name, and then Ruben can reverse sweep him. So maybe maybe a little bit of a shot fire there from Josh Varden. I guess we know, not an SK fan there. Judgmental saying Ruben was the best player. Ruben is the comeback kid, says Sir Raider. So a lot of fans here, of course, but the question now is, can Ruben do it as we jump into game number 2?
Yep, game number 2, and automatically Ruben comes out with the Spear Goblins. And every time you see a Valkyrie for a Mo Light, you know you're going to see a deck that is very structured around defense and that can defend just about the majority of the decks in the game. So it'll be interesting to see what he has. Could it be Hoggies? Could it be Bait? Which Momo playing Bait is definitely something to be scared of. And Ruben coming out with Bait of his own with E-Barbs, very aggressive. Mo with a snowball, not exactly the best answer, and this is problems for Ruben at the start of the game.
And the double bait plus the wall breaker connection. And Ruben putting pressure on Bandit plus Princess, and the Princess connects as well.
Yeah, Ruben definitely putting his foot on the gas pedal in the first minute of the game, getting a bunch of damage, forcing Mo to defensive minor. When you can make Mohamed Light do that, you know he's uncomfortable, and you know that you're in a good position of the game, and Ruben is coming out to a great start in this one.
So, double bait or the Goblin Barrel wall breakers variation here for Ruben, whereas Mo going more straight up minor wall breakers.
Princess trade at the bridge from Ruben, calming down a little bit, taking his foot off the gas pedal for this double elixir. It's looking like a very similar match for both players. Mo missing that timing on the snowball, very difficult to get both of all the goblins from not getting a hit, and very similar matches, like I said, just Mo rocking that minor instead of that Goblin Barrel.
Mother Witch, Snowball, Bandit all spent here on this one, so big elixir spend from Ruben as he goes Goblin Barrel here, and just recognizing he's not against Barb Barrel, not against Log, and has some good advantages, some good opportunities, and Ruben has to overspend as well to stay in this one.
Yep, Ruben definitely forcing Mo, and Mo forcing Ruben to overspend, getting a cheeky Princess shot there, and both players using Snowball here. Mo looking to have a big spell, which could be a saving grace in this one with Ruben only having the Snowball.
And that one got absorbed, 10-18 on the right-hand side, final 32 seconds of regulation period as Ruben splits the E-Barbs.
Yep, a big heads-up play from Mo, using that Valkyrie to defend that. And wow, that is painful to watch. Ruben's lead getting cut down slowly. Just really heads up from Mo, using the Valkyrie to get the Goblin Barrel. Valkyrie a little late on that one, so he eats some Goblin shots there.
A lot of Goblin shots now, so giving up the lead, giving up the big advantage that was Ruben, but then able to get a lot of that back. 6:22 to 14:60 as we go into sudden death overtime. It is the Spaniard from Team Queso leading in the game for the moment as the Poison does come out to win this bridge fight.
Yep, and really aggressive Princess that did not pay off, and it's going to cost him here when Mo goes all in here, wasting the Snowball. This is dangerous, Rich.
Wallbreakers trying to sneak through E-Barbs. Will they get both Wallbreakers? They do, and just barely hold on to both Wallbreakers. But right now, it's Mohamed Light stacking at the bridge. Tesla to support the stack, but his Princess does go down.
Great Tesla there, expecting the Mother Witch. And like I said, that was dangerous, and Ruben basically just about evened it up here, and now he's got to worry about those two wall breakers. Goblin Barrel on defense stopping just one of them, and Ruben is in trouble.
Minor goes to the back, does not get picked up by the Mother Witch. Whole lot of trouble, and the well play coming out from Ruben, and that's going to have to be a GG here. The Poison going to put things pretty much out of place once that gets played down, and so Ruben trying to sell out and beat out the 8-second tick as the Goblin Barrel comes in with a snowball right behind, and a pig touching, though.
Oof, that pig almost tanked it all for Ruben, but that's going to be game. Mohamed Light, 2-0-2. I think, how many games did he lose in this tournament?
Not a lot. Not a lot of games lost. I guess we'll probably see the bracket one more time, but Mo Light OP, EMEA champion, and you see that name next to Mohamed Light's name quite a lot these days. Champion once more, taking two big BO3s against Ruben, and certainly ought to feel good for Mo to have a great performance here in the Queso Cup. Did not get what he wanted out of the final monthly qualifier, but looks like he has not lost a step at all. And they might face again when we go to our Queso Cup World Finals. But there you have your top three. Mohamed Light winning $2,000, Ruben winning $1,500, and LaPoKaTi taking home a clean $1K. So GG to all these guys. We'll see them back again, of course, next weekend. Saturday right here on my channel. Sunday over on Cashman's channel, twitch.tv/Cashman. Cashman TV, I think, is Cashman's channel. It's been a whole lot of fun, and that was a Great performance there from Mo. Great from all these guys. Had some wonderful matches, some of the close matches we've ever seen here in this one this weekend. So I enjoy watching. Hope you enjoy watching it as well. And of course, Mini. Not only good luck, thanks for today, but also good luck tomorrow in that LATAM final.
Yeah, thank you, man. It means a lot.
That's going to be it for us today on the stream, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead. There's the link in the chat to subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel. It's a great and easy way to go ahead and support. Ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss anything. Back again, of course, tomorrow with the LATAM Regional Championship, which will be at 10:30 in the morning Pacific time. That's 1:30 Eastern. And whatever it is everywhere else, it'll be, of course, in the Clash Royale app. I believe so, at least. Most likely place to find it. Otherwise, just make sure you come back here. And, of course, next weekend with more. But, of course, please go ahead and subscribe if you haven't yet so you don't miss anything. If you're on Twitch, go ahead and hang out. Thank you, Jason, for the Twitch sub, the gifted sub over on Twitch. If you're on Twitch, hang out. We're going to find someone cool to go ahead and throw a raid to. If you're on YouTube, though, it has been an absolute blast. Really appreciate having you guys here. And I will leave you on this great replay from earlier in the day. As always, be excellent to each other. And